Hello everyone, and welcome to Living by the Law, the podcast discussing fictional worlds and how wondrous and ridiculous they are. My name is Matt, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Jude and Guy. Living by the Law is not currently sponsored. If you'd wish to sponsor us, go to therapy. I'm serious. Treat it like a dental checkup, but for your brain instead of your teeth. Get it all off your chest, including your sponsorship offer. We will hear you. We always do.
This time on Living by the Law, we discuss Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archives and the magic that resides there. This episode may contain spoilers for the Stormlight Archives and Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere.
But what do you mean, Jude? What's a cold open? We just have natural conversation, and this podcast just starts when the audience joins us.
So today I was looking at Airtasker, and boy, you would not believe. No, actually, I was looking at Airtasker because, listen, I'm in a position in my life where I am sitting at home while my girlfriend is out from 9 a.m. until 11 p.m. working, and my mother texts me during the day saying, "Can't you get a job on Airtasker?" So that's where I'm at right now in my life.
Yeah,
he's a stay-at-home boyfriend.
I'm a stay-at-home. Man, it's great. I do washing. I walk the dogs. I hang out. It's great.
Fantastic.
However, Airtasker threw me a fucking curveball with Nathaniel's posting in my area. Make a life-size Beyblade stadium, like in the anime. $100. He has quoted $100 for a 6.5 meter wide arena. Now, if you don't know Beyblade usually sends like maybe 30 centimeter little arena things. I've played with them before. I'm quite a good blader, you know.
Mm-hmm. The only experience I think I have actually that I can remember, other than when I was a kid, I was babysitting a kid once, and we were playing Beyblades. And I lost every time. And I thought, oh, he picked the better Beyblade. He picked the metal Beyblade. I was using the plastic one.
Don't make people angry. They're called bays. You picked the metal bay.
He literally switched with me, and he still won. I don't know what this kid was doing, but he's a fucking blader.
He was a champion blader. And also from the comments of this posting, I can also see that originally, 18 hours ago, someone commented $60, bruv. Meaning that he originally posted it at $60 for a 6.5 meter wide wooden, smooth, mind you, because Beyblades require smooth surfaces. Should be close to anime ratio, must be smooth and able to run Beyblade smoothly. Do you know how hard it is, Nathaniel, to make an inner curved product?
A concave sphere.
Let me carve out my massive, thick piece of wood that costs $400 on its own. You absolute monster. Anyway.
Honestly, I respect the hustle, honestly.
I respect the optimism.
But you know what? If you're going to do Beyblading, you got to go big. Because, like, a true fact, I've looked into Beyblading lore in the past. It's very hard to get a grasp because every single Beyblade anime has, like, a different story. And it's really hard to get a grasp on all the lore. But canonically, Beyblades have existed since, like, the dawn of time. Have existed since the dawn of time. For example, canonically, Moses is a real person, and he split the Red Sea with a Beyblade.
Fuck
so,
yeah, dude.
All I can take from that is, canonically, probably God exists in the Beyblade universe, and God gave him a bay to split the Red Sea. He's like, here, Moses, use this.
Speaking of gods and powers of the world, we're going back into what will be the last for a little while of me exploring the Cosmere magic by our old buddy Brando Sander. I'm so sorry.
Back.
I'm so sorry. It wasn't meant to be my next episode, but
you mean
life happened and I ran out of time, and this was the only thing I could put together quickly. So anyway,
Beyblade Sanderson,
my favorite.
My favorite author.
Yeah, my favorite. I'm so sorry.
Good old Sandy and his magic worlds.
So
Bandy box. But okay, I think canonically, if we finish every single one of Brandon's books, he's obligated to come on the podcast.
Yeah. Hey,
I think that's
I've
how
seen
it
him. I'm telling you now. Some of the random channels that I've seen him appear on as like an interview with YouTube, we have more followers than them. So like, it's just saying as well. I'm sure that those channels probably don't butcher his work as badly as I do, but
fake fans.
I'm sure we've never ever disrespected his work.
No, exactly.
us just
montage of
bullying
us.
him.
So you slurp the metal and you get the juice.
You slurp the metal and you get the juice. That's how I remember it. You dance the dance until you get hit in the heel, and then you get distracted, and then you die.
You pay the blades until the blade comes out of the 6-foot wide arena and hits you in the head, Nathaniel.
Yes.
Pull out the sword and everyone dies.
Exactly. So, speaking of swords and people dying,
Yes.
I have a brief excerpt that will get us in the mood for this next and final installment of this series, as you can stitch together from our many episodes.
I'm ready.
Well, the guard said, "What are you waiting for?" Zeth breathed in deeply, drawing forth the stormlight. It streamed into him, siphoning from the twin sphere lamps on the walls, sucked in as if by his breath inhalation. The stormlight raged inside of him, and the hallway suddenly grew darker, falling into shade like a hilltop cut off from a transient cloud. What are you?" The guard's voice had lost its certainty. "Spirit or man?" as he called down from the hallway. "What am I?" Seth whispered, a bit of light leaking from his lips as he looked past the man down the long hallway. "I'm sorry." Seth blinked, lashing himself to the distant point down the hallway. Stormlight raged from him in a flash, chilling his skin, and the ground immediately stopped pulling him downwards. Instead, he was pulled toward that distant point, as if to him that direction had suddenly become down. From Zeth's perspective, the hallway was now a deep shaft down which he was falling, and the two guards stood on one of the sides. They were shocked when Zeth's feet hit them, one for each face. One of the guards fumbled for his spear. Zeth reached down, touching the soldier's shoulder. While looking up, he focused on a point above him, willing the light out of his body, lashing the poor man to the ceiling. The guard yelped in shock as up became the new down for him, the light trailing from him. And that is a bit of a taster of the magical fuckery of the Stormlight Archives, which we will be using to wrap up the exploration of the Cosmere series of magic.
I love when he stormlighted in the archives.
I also love the stormlighting in the archive. So you may remember, but you probably won't, because I sure don't. The last episode we did on the Cosmere was on Elantris and the Magic Door, which was an interesting system. But we've also discussed the Metalborn of Scadrial in our Mistborn episode, and we've discussed the Biochromatic Breaths of Nalthis in our Warbreaker episode. So that leaves us with the flagship product of the entire Cosmere, the biggest, the spiciest, the crossover eventiest,
The yummiest.
the yummiest, the Stormlight Archives. My personal favourite series. I love this shit. Anyway, time to let you both roast the shit out of it and make me cry in the corner. Stormlight Archives.
Don't worry. It's a bit of Stormlight reading.
Shut the fuck up.
I love when the pun ignores the first word and just shuffles right on past it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Stormlight Archives takes place on the planet of Roshar, a mostly single-continent world, and we have small bits to do with another planet in the same solar system called Braze. The magic in this world flows from the shards' cultivation and honor. In their world together, they made the very principles of creation, the 10 surges, which represent a force in the world. To quote from the book on this, true surges are of both cultivation and honor. Cultivation for life, honor to make the surge into natural law. Things must fall to the ground, so they created surges to make it happen. So basically, the idea of this magic system is very much touching on the fundamental things of the world. So you've got like decomposition, gravitation, that sort of thing. We'll get into the surges later on.
Like the rules of the universe. Like gravitational is one of the 4 fundamental forces of ours.
Exactly.
And entropy is like decomposition in that sense.
Exactly. And this is...
Hold on a sec. Step back, Buckaroo. What are these things you're talking about? Honor? Cultivation? Who are they? What
Don't
are
worry.
shards?
We're getting to that next part.
For the
Not
people who haven't
again.
listened to the previous episodes,
I'm getting it's literally my next paragraph.
and talk faster.
I'm trying.
Storm through it.
Shut
I
the
don't
fuck
like this. I don't like this podcast anymore. So, as we may remember from the last episode and the episodes before, the shards are effectively the gods in Brandon's Cosmere, and each one of them represents a divine being or a divine entity, a divine force. It's a fairly commonly used idea, having like something be the particular god of this, that, or the other. And in Sanderson's one, each of the magic systems are based off of one of these intents that's become a god. So we've looked at preservation before, we've looked at ruin before, we've looked at endowment before, we've looked at dominion before, and we've looked at devotion before. And now you may remember at the end of the last episode, I mentioned odium that had killed the other two gods in the door, the magic door ones.
Yes.
And then I said that next time we come back to this, we would look at where odium goes next. This is where odium goes, baby.
Woohoo!
The magic door that wasn't
Time
a
for
door.
more god murdering.
Time for more attempted god murdering. So the other part that these two gods created in their union are things called spren. Spren, for really crystal clear idea for you two, and for other people that may have a similar taste to these two fuckers, spren are kind of like a familiar, like a little fey creature.
Yeah, Dungeons and
had that, didn't we?
Dragons.
Yes,
we have
the
those little light
Scions.
bulbs?
The Scions are very similar to Spren. In fact, so similar that they are the same level of like divine being, called a splinter. So Spren are split. So where the Scions in the last episode were splinters of devotion or dominion, the Spren are splinters of honor and cultivation. So you can think of them like little flakes of divine essence. Really not the right metaphor, but it kind of works. If God created a huge stone slab of their power and then carved something out of it, the spren are like the little bits of stone that are cut off from the slab that are left over, just like decorating the ground, you know?
Fair enough. That's good
Except some of them have varying degrees of sentience.
The spren is the leftover bone at the family meeting after we've carved up the roast, the little bits of meat.
Yeah,
scattered.
exactly. So some spren.
It's not funny, Matt. I don't know why you're laughing.
It's a very interesting analogy.
It works. So with spren, there is literally, I won't read through a list of them because we will literally be here for 3 hours on this alone.
Yay!
There is a spren for everything. It's like they're kind of almost used. It's a very interesting world for concept art and a lot of like animations that people have done, because you've kind of got spren almost representing like anything from emotions to the very force of nature. If someone's frightened and they aren't hiding their emotions very well, they're feeling very frightened, they'll attract fear spren. So there's like particular spren that'll like gather around their feet where you can go, oh, that person's clearly terrified. I can see literal fear spren at their feet.
So it's kind of like the opposite of the other one, where the other one's a very general power.
Yeah.
This is very much specific
Yes.
power. It's like, it's kind of similar, I mean, in a way, I mean, this seems like a lot very similar to like Greek mythology or Roman. And it's like you have gods who represent a certain thing, but you also have like minor gods and minor spirits. Like one spirit represent like this river, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
So you've got like, fear spren, decay spren, wind spren, so many different things that can just be anything in nature.
Okay, so they're all concepts, but they're not necessarily tied to physical things.
Exactly. They aren't
Okay, cool.
necessarily, they aren't all emotion-based, some are natural. In fact, there's one character that theorizes, and we're yet to be completely proven wrong, that every single object has a spren. It's just that they may be more hidden than others. But,
like, do creations have spren? Like, what? Okay, say a tree had a spren, and you chop it down and turn that into a boat. Does the boat now have a spren? Or does
Maybe.
Does a new...
It's a different spren. It's a new spren. It's
There
not the same spren.
there is literally characters who are just traveling this world, documenting as many different types of spren as they can. There's one of those characters in particular that we get a little perspective from. He has his book where he writes them all down, and his most recent entry was, I believe I found the existence of beer spren, but I need to do more testing because I may have just been drunk hallucinating.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, Jude, but the spren are things attracted to concepts, not necessarily tied to a specific thing.
Exactly. So they are things that are attracted to something. So if you're feeling fright...
Okay.
Yeah, so river will have water spren, for example.
But if the river gets blocked up, then the river spren will fuck off.
Yeah, yes. They'll probably... It does depend a little bit. So, like, wind spren, if there's a really strong gust of wind, you'll see loads of, like, streamer, like, wind spren drifting through the air. But if there's not much wind today, then there may not be any.
What do they look like? Sorry, I'm trying to hard to describe.
They are... That's the next part I'm getting to. The thing that varies with spren completely is their level of sentience and their appearance. Their appearance is really fucking weird. It can be literally anything. Wind Spren, for example, can just appear like a big long streamer in the air, like almost translucent and silvery in the air. But something like a Flame Spren will almost appear like a happy little guy, smiling almost, like a little flame dude.
So they're kind of like mini elementals.
Yeah, kind of.
Hold up, though. How do you know it's a Spren and not just, like, a weird bug?
They don't really.
Yay!
Well, that's one of the theories about Spren. But anyway, Spren are
They're
very
all
much
bugs.
creatures. And there are different ones that are varying levels of sentience. The complexities of them are way too much to get into, and I could literally have an entire episode about them, and who knows, maybe I will one day when I'm running really dry. But anyway, so to simplify for now, you remember how in the past, and to refresh anyone that may not have listened to other episodes, Sanderson and other worlds out there and other D&D based things often have like an idea of a physical and a cognitive realm, or like a spiritually realm or an ethereal realm, whatever, something that's like spiritual, like over the top of our physical realm. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Familiar concept to people. Well, in Rosha, the Stormlight Archives world, the cognitive realm is a literal entire world of itself here, and it is a place called Shadesmar. Shadesmar is Rosha, but flipped. Where there's water in the real world, there's dry land in Shadesmar. Where there's water, there's land. You get it. Anyway, the Shadesmar, or the cognitive realm in this place, is where all the Spren live. They are full-bodied creatures in the cognitive realm, but only small parts of them appear in the physical realm as they bleed through. So a really easy example of this, in the physical realm, you would see a Wind Spren as just like this big long streamer, like I mentioned before, when in reality, when you see them fully in the cognitive realm, they're actually these kind of terrifying looking eel things with these big long antenna-like ears, and it's just their big antenna that bleed through into the physical realm. Stuff like that.
Does that mean that, like, they're technically water Spren? Because they're in water in their own realm?
Yeah, they're always in water.
Well, no, it's more drawn to things in the physical realm, because they're being drawn to stuff in the physical realm that's making them bleed through.
I see. Are they also, when they're in the physical realm, are they physical? Like, can you touch one?
They're more ghostly than anything.
Okay.
Except in some very rare instances, which we'll get to. So for the most part, it's more akin to like a ghost that's kind of bleeding through from a cognitive place into a physical place.
I'm very much imagining that.
In terms of the land and water swapping, the air stays the same, I assume?
Yes, as far as we're aware.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So with Shadesmar, some of the Spren, so particularly the more sapient varieties, such as Honor Spren, they have an entire world in there. Like, they have cities, they have governments, they have all sorts of far more advanced societies than humans. Like I say, the Spren are a whole nother aspect of world building that I won't get bogged down into. But this brings us, just with that in mind, so Cultivation and Honor created the Spren, and they created the Surges. That brings us nicely along to where I mentioned before. So Odium, after killing Devotion and Dominion in the Elantris world, he came over to Rosha. And to simplify a whole bunch, for the sake of getting to the point of today, a bunch of people that once worshipped Honor began worshipping Odium. Races turned on each other, and they fell into war and ruin. The war was between the different races of humanity. There's a couple different races, but they're still fundamentally humans, kind of. So we'll just simplify them by calling them humanity, just for the sake of ease. But they're kind of interesting. I don't know. And the other
fucking racism. Fuck.
No, not quite.
We got past this.
No, it's okay. The races are equally represented on both sides of the war.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that makes it better or worse.
I like multi-sided racism. God,
yeah.
It's just so much better than normal
Fourth-dimensional racism.
Yeah. And the other major race are a group called the Singers. The Singers are another sapient race that are native to Rosha. And very loosely, for the sake of an easy mental image, they're kind of like an insect-like sapient race. So,
interesting. That's cool.
Humanoid, very much 2 legs, 2 arms, but they have insect-like eyes, and they grow a sort of chitinous plate on their body when they want to, and they are deeply connected through rhythm, thus their name, and they usually sing different rhythms to each other to communicate.
I love that.
And they,
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, and
Cool
there's
bugs.
a lot of parts about their body. As much as they could be described as a humanoid creature, they're very kind of insect-like in a lot of aspects.
Screw the humans. I like the bugs. Let's
I
kill
don't-
all the humans.
the singers are really cool. However, they are very deeply connected through rhythm. That's the name, and it's very complicated. But long story short, Odium gets the majority of these singers to fall for him through passion, and that's where they split away from honor. As Odium represents passion, hatred, all that sort of thing. And this is kind of where the big fighting really begins, because Odium's ultimate thing here is he wants to do the same to Cultivation and Honor as he did to the last gods, kill him, crush him, rip him to shreds, and then move on to another world. But
Because in the last couple of worlds, like, what was Mistborn's god again?
preservation and ruin.
Yeah, so like ruin, like people like died, and preservation, everyone's gonna say the same. In the last one, this one, yeah, the guy who wanted to kill the gods. What do these two gods, what are they like? What's honor in this sense? Like, what's honor and what's the other one? Sorry,
Honor and cultivation.
Hold on, what does that mean? Like, did the cultivation really good at farming?
I mean, in a sense, yes. Cultivation kind of just represents life, to make it really, really simple. Growth, progression, that sort of thing. Whereas honor is a lot more about deals and arrangements, that sort of thing, which kind of leans a lot into where we're going with the magic system.
Communism, capitalism.
Yeah, let's go with it. I hate that so much. So while the humans were able to hold their own against Odium's forces, it was brutal, but it was mortals fighting mortals, and for the most part, the gods were willing to let this happen. They had a strong sense of, if we get directly involved, it just escalates things. Kind of like an arms race, I guess you could say. But then Honor did a thing that is within the power of Honor, and effectively created a pact that bound Odium to the Roshar system as long until Honor himself let Odium free. So kind of trapped him into the system, because Odium wants to go and conquer other planets, and now Odium's trapped here unless Honor lets him go.
Does it count if Honor dies?
Well, that's what Odium's hoping for.
I was gonna say, because Odium kind of rocked the last two guys' shit, so I feel like he would just kind of keep on moving.
But to be fair, he
Indeed.
took them by surprise. These guys have had time to set up house.
A little bit. So anyway, but then, so the war's going interestingly, and then Odium cheats. He unlocks the souls of many of his followers and turns them into something called a cognitive shadow. Something that strongly exists in both the physical and spiritual realm at the same time. This effectively made them immortal. You could kill their body, but if you kill their body, their soul would go back to Braze, the other planet that Odium's now taken over in the solar system. And while on Braze, their spirit would then be sent back down to Roshar with a new body. This meant that the war was completely unwinnable by the people following Honor. Because they are now not only fighting... it's not even a matter of they are literally endless followers coming for you, it's also the fact that you kill that one, and now that spirit knows everything, and it knows how to fight you, it knows how to fight everyone else that it fought, and now it's coming back that much smarter.
I also imagine followers numbers-wise, like, looking from the side of the people who don't come back to life onto the side of the people who do come back to life, I would be switching sides pretty quick.
Yep.
Pretty
it's
pronto.
Not great. So, to counteract this, Honor created the first magic users in this world. And they are what is called Surge Binders. And in the creation of them, Honor created 10 Surge Binders. Each had a special blade created and given to a volunteering mortal human. These blades were called, creatively, Honor Blades. An honor blade was a literal piece of honor's soul and divine power given physical shape, and once wielded and bonded by a mortal, unlocked several abilities for them. Chief amongst them, it unlocked 2 of the 10 surges per blade. But in creating these 10 honor blades, which had a similar effect on the wielders as Odium had done to his own followers, Honor created something called the Oath Pact. We don't really know lots about what the Oath Pact physically looks like, if it was something physical, spiritual, but what we do know is that the souls of the people who were wielding these honor blades were now also tied to the planet Braze, where Odium was, and it traps the enemy and the honor blade wielders here. This ended the war, as while the wielders, who now became heralds and were worshipped as demigods, while they held firm, they would keep the enemy trapped on this other planet. But Odium's followers would not go quietly. They would continue to fight these 10 people. They would eventually capture them. They would eventually torture them endlessly until one of the heralds broke. And then once the herald breaks, the Oath Pact is temporarily disrupted, which sends all of the heralds back onto Roshar, and all the immortal enemies can keep flowing back again.
Okay,
but
wait,
when they
you gotta slow down. There's with so many things. I have so many questions.
I know. That's right. I'm getting. Don't worry. Just bear with me. Just bear with me. Matthew.
Let me throw some more information at you. So have more questions.
Bear with
Go.
me. Just bear with me.
My mind is overwhelmed.
Just bear with
You're
me.
talking to 2 people with ADHD who cannot have got a short-term memory test the other day. I scored terribly.
They would then join up with humanity, acting as generals and commanders until the immortal enemy could be banished back to Braze, whereupon the heralds would go back and continue their long vigilance. Questions, please.
Okay, so many questions. One. So many.
Yes.
One. How did he pick these 10 people?
They volunteered.
I would volunteer. Yeah, same. I'd do the same thing.
I mean, I put my hand up at the magic show. It doesn't mean that I'm the guy that picked. What separated them? Why are they cool? Are they sexy?
That's a good question.
Are they looking?
How are they looking?
They are pretty sexy, yeah. No, they, the idea of them, to an extent, they were... Very few people volunteered, owing to the actual reality of the situation that you're signing yourself up for an immortal life where your existence is constant torture. You're either constantly being tortured by the literal god of hatred, or you're fighting a war against an unbeatable enemy and trying to push them back off the planet. It's not a very good time, you know?
You can imagine the clout, though.
Yeah.
Why 10?
10, because they... So he's created 10 of them, 10 surges, 10 orders, 10 honor blades.
He likes 10.
But each honor blade gets 2 powers.
Yes, there is overlap.
It's a little strange if you're going to make 10, 10, 10.
There is deliberately overlap.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Also, how many were they fighting?
Sorry?
Question.
Enemy army, how many were they in numbers?
Oh, like thousands upon thousands.
How did... You know what the question is.
To be fair, they got a piece of honor, right? The other guys don't have a piece of their god because the
Correct.
god didn't give them a piece.
Correct.
Did that weaken honor?
This is like the 10,000 rats question, though.
Okay, how did that weaken? Okay, no, but they literally can't die, so they're just torturing these guys forever. So like, they literally have to kill them all, then die themselves. That's the kind of all they have to do.
Yes, so that's the most messed up part about the about the Oath Pact is that it also it relies on the heralds themselves. In the end, it relies on them going back to the other planet Braze to reseal the Oath Pact.
Is that planet nice? It's like a holiday.
It is. It's kind of just a desolate, apocalyptic wasteland nowadays.
I'm gonna say no, then, Matt.
No.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's a no.
We don't really know a lot about it yet because our prospective characters haven't actually been to Braze, but we've just heard tale about it being like the hell that Odium first took over and comes from, that sort of thing.
Nice.
So, I mean, it also could be propaganda from Honor for all we know.
Next question. What are the consequences of honor being weakened?
That is outside of the scope of this episode. But probably not good, hey?
Next question. The fuck is cultivation doing at this time?
Cultivation is not very interested in joining in the fighting.
Taking a bloody nap, honestly based.
Cultivation is taking a pacifist approach at this point in time. Meanwhile, Honor's like, well, all our followers are being fucking murdered. I'm gonna do something.
Yeah, not your best cultivation, not your best. Okay, last question, I think, for the time being. Can one give up their power Actually, I have another question on this.
Yep.
Can anyone give up their power and give it to someone else?
Yes, they can.
Cool. That's a very cool story point.
Yes.
Someone else can take that on. Last question. We found out in one of the other worlds, people can become like demigods, right? When you said they were like demigods, respected like demigods, do they have the same like powers and buffness and coolness? Like the guys who had like the golden soul, like the divine souls, are they like that?
Yes. So as I'm about to explain now, they are while they are wielding their honor blades, and once they've bonded to them, they are a surge binder. And once you're a surge binder, a lot of things get unlocked for you.
Hell
Tell us all about those surge binders, baby.
Yes. So the other thing with the numbers, it's not about them actually fighting and beating Odium's many followers. It's more about them. They can't. Once they're on Braze, they kind of can't die. They're functionally immortal on that planet. They're least
just a stopgap.
Yeah. The
It could
only
honestly
way.
be one of them, but it'd be a bit lonely.
Pretty funny if that happened. Anyway, the whole point of them is that they only break the Earth Pact when one of them actually like relents or concedes. What's the word?
Gives up.
Yields. That's the word
Shits
I'm
the
looking
bed.
for. One of them has to actively yield under the pressure of all the torture and constant death and rebirth and death and rebirth. So it's not so much that they're designed to actually fight and spank the Odium followers on their own planet. It's more that they're there just to endure. There's a little. I always feel like there's a little bit of a Jesus metaphor there about like bearing the entire weight and pain of the world, suffering sins, that sort of thing, for all the world, so that the world doesn't have to be fucked over by them.
Interesting. That's an interesting metaphor.
I don't know.
can see that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's quite deliberately a little bit of a Jesus metaphor, but we also have no we also
What if
have
there
no...
were 10 Jesuses?
10 Jesuses, yes. 10
And
Jesus.
Jesus. We all agree.
Jesus.
We all agree. Yes. So, with the passing along of the honor blades, yes, someone could, in theory, pass along an honor blade, but at least while the Earth Pact is holding, the Earth Pact itself, the thing that keeps everything going, that is more tied to the individuals. So if, say, one of the heralds were to give up their blade to someone else, it would, in theory, break the Earth Pact. But the person
for that time, all the demons would come back, but they still have the whole thing going on?
We don't specifically know what would happen if they tried to break. All we know is that it would break the Earth Pact. We don't know how fixable it is. Anyway, so this brings us to the main focus of the episode: the Surge Binders, and the Surge Binders that follow the Heralds, called the Knights Radiant. So as the Heralds shaped the early development of humanity, people and Spren, with the guidance of honor and cultivation, founded the Knights Radiant. This was ultimately the way that humanity would begin to defend itself going forward. There are 10 orders of Knights Radiant, each connected to a set of ideals, surges, and Spren relevant to the Herald that they are based off of. So, the whole basis of the Knights Radiant is something called the Nahel Bond, which is a symbiotic relationship between a human and a Spren.
Nice.
I have the first quote for someone to read. Who wants to read it?
I'll go
Dead
for it.
dead silence in the room. Damn it.
Matt's
Damn
it.
you, Matt. How dare you?
I hate silence. It literally, oh my god, so many times in meetings I volunteer for things because it's silence for like 20 seconds, and I'm like, I'll do it. Fuck it.
Give me kind of a slightly older librarian sort of voice for this one.
That's it. Okay.
Kind of small.
Hey, shut up.
He's heard that a lot.
Oh, it's kind of short, Jude.
The Nahel bond is far from intimate, a relationship. The Nahel bond, correction, is far more intimate relationship. Sorry, I was reading the wrong scripture. Than simply friends. The linking of spirits.
Yes. So the Nahel bond between a human and Spren is a very, very spiritual and intimate thing. It's not necessarily a like romantic thing, but it's also it's very much like a close family sort of style bond that you attach yourself to a spren. And
I see that. It's like I mean, in Mortal Instruments, they have the parabatai, which is like your soul bonded best friend.
It is really, really similar to that. Actually, that's a really good example. Yeah,
because that's like it's a whole thing of like it's your fighting best friend to the end of time.
Yeah.
Like literally, to be fair, like they have the ban on you can't be lovers, but that's only because you get too powerful if you're lovers.
Yeah,
Too powerful.
This is more.
So the Spren seem to bond with people who share the Spren's perspective on personality. However, they also seem to seek partners that would complement them. How exactly the bond is decided on varies, though it requires volition. So the Spren has to actively be seeking out the bond. Some Spren are highly discerning, while others do not pay too much attention to the morality of their prospective partner. Some Spren choose the people they bond with individually, while others are more organised and make the decision by committee, then send one particular of their number to bond.
That's cute. Interesting.
So one of the very sapient and really fucking weird types of Spren called cryptic, or a cryptic Spren. They have like this whole underground council in the Spren world, which the rest of the Spren fucking hate, and they basically just walk around all day buzzing and making weird riddles against each other, and then when they find someone that they think is ready for one of their number to bond them, they'll basically all sit around the table like, yes, yes,
Send him a riddle. Send him another riddle.
And then they'll start like getting really particular about who should go, who shouldn't, who should go, who shouldn't, and then anyway, it's a whole thing.
I have two hands, but no.
Yeah,
no
legit.
Arms. I run but have no legs. What am I?
It's very much the Spren has to be seeking someone out.
So Nehal's all about consent.
It is very much about consent.
The humanoid, bug or human, has to consent as
Exactly. So the Nahel bond is forged and progressed by the partner, so the human side of it, stating the immortal words, also known as oaths or ideals, which align with their order's general outlook, attitude, and philosophy. The first ideal is identical for all orders, the latter ones are order-specific. The Lightweavers in particular, stating deep, intimate truths about themselves rather than any set of ideals. So we'll get into the specifics of the different orders. They are very, very diverse in the way that they progress through.
Are these the orders of light?
No, so this is the Knights Radiant themselves. So the different orders.
Sorry, I missed this. What's the
What?
Knights Radiance?
The Knights Radiant. The 10 groups that we're talking about.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes.
The
Brain.
Minders, the guys.
Id moment.
Yeah.
So, the first ideal that all 10 of the Knights Radiant swear, and this is the part that someone, no matter which type of a Spren you're... Sorry, I might just restate it just to make it clear if Matt is not the only one confused about this particular part. So you've got 10 different orders to represent the 10 different heralds. Each of those orders has one particular type of Spren attached to them. And then those Spren will seek out someone that embodies the ideals of that order. And then they will bond that person, and then that person is in that order, effectively.
And a herald is one of the demigods.
Yes, the heralds are the demigods that had the honor.
Okay, so it all comes down. Cool.
It's the cults of the pantheon of demigods.
Exactly.
Cool. I got it.
So the next quote that I'm going to get Guy to read now, you can do this in your most heroic voice, but not too Chad.
I can't do non-Chad. I'm sorry. I'm incapable of doing un-Chad voices.
Wow, Guy.
He is unchattable.
So this is the first ideal, the immortal words that every order speaks. After this, they all go different directions to represent the different ideals and philosophies of each different order. But this is the one that everyone will swear.
Life before... I can't do it. It's too Chad. Sorry. Gotta rephrase. Give me a
Just
sec.
do your own voice. That's not...
No, that's too Chad.
Wow.
Life before death. Strength before weakness. Journey before destination. Sounds like something I'd put on a fucking 30-year-old white woman's wall.
It does sound like a live, laugh, love kind of
Yeah. Journey
But
before destination.
But for chads.
Anyway.
It's on the wall of my gym.
Anyway, hate you all. So, the ideals of the Knights Radiant, or known as the Immortal Words, serve as a guide for the Radiant's actions and lives. Each Order of Radiants has 5 ideals, though different Radiants from the same order may swear an ideal with slightly different words. The wording of the first ideal, however, is the exact same for everyone. It is the same, then after that, they get a bit more individualized to people's different journey through the different ideals. So the unique ideals for each order are designed as a progression that develops a Radiant's character towards the central concept of their order. So yeah, we'll get into the ideals a little bit later, but that's the main thing you need to understand for now. That there's an oath that they swear that binds them into this order, so to speak.
So wait, you can't make a bond with a Spren without swearing to the order?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
The Spren may be following you around, and we definitely, in the books, we see some instances where someone from one of the Order is watching some people training to become members of the Order, but they haven't sworn the oath yet, and he actually gets a glimpse of different Spren watching them, kind of hanging around them like, oh yeah, they're nearly ready, sort of thing.
Okay.
All the demigods have their own, like, mega spren.
No. So the heralds in particular are the one exception to this. Their honor blade is everything. That just gives them this power. The Knights Radiant themselves is a spren imitating an honor blade in a sense and unlocking these powers for someone.
Is it more powerful than regular spren or just about the same?
The honor blade?
Hey, Matt, they're called demigods. I'm pretty sure they're more powerful.
Arguably more powerful, but it does depend a bit on the level of the Radiant. So which ideal they've sworn may make them more or less powerful.
Wait, the
Also,
level?
how long has this been going on?
Thousands of years.
Yes, okay. So, Guy,
What?
if you'd been living thousands of years, going in and out of battling, I think you'd be pretty good at battling at this point, so they could just be really good at it. They couldn't really shit at the start and kept dying badly, but now they're good at it. Now they're fucking... So they look like they're really powerful, they're just really experienced.
Yeah.
They have parts of a god! What are you on about?
Yeah.
I do like how... Imagine just meeting the same demon over and over again. It's like, hey, Tim, it's Tuesday again. I guess we're going to have to fight to the death.
Yeah.
Other question.
Yes.
Go.
No, you go.
Oh, no, entirely separate.
They do have a character. They do have in one of the most recent books. They do have a recurring character, one of these immortal respawning demons that's kind of sworn to kill this one particular human, and the human keeps killing him. And then every time it gets more and more scary because you kind of can't use the same trick against them more than once.
Exactly. You'd be really... Honestly, I could see some lover, like enemies to lover kind of thing with the demons. You know what I mean? Like I can see some going on. If you have thousands of years, you get to know each other pretty well. How intimate is it? They say love and war is...
The human side don't live for that long. They're still like, 50 to 60 years max. It's only the heralds that live for a very, very long time.
But that's the herald. Heralds the ones that are dying and going to live with these demons for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're also being tortured by them constantly. It's going to be some
It's
weird
called Stockholm syndrome, dude. They get intimate.
Yeah, Guy, you were gonna ask?
Levels.
Yes.
Are they tiered? Is there a tier system to this?
Yes, there is.
Woohoo!
So as
Why the
you-
fuck would I ever go for the
Tier
lower
system.
ones then? What's the
No.
point?
So
It's a Brandon Sanderson world, Guy. Of course there's a fucking tier system.
So we'll get into it a little bit later because it'll be a lot easier to explain the different ideals or rankings once you know a bit about the orders themselves, because otherwise I'm just talking about random oaths that have no context. But basically, as you train with your spren, as you fight, as you discover yourself, it's a lot of like self-discovery and self-actualization, that sort of thing. You will discover an oath that you need to swear, and that will kind of guide your journey. So it's a very kind of almost monastic order sort of thing.
Level up inside the order. The
Yeah.
orders in a totality aren't like, this is the best order.
No.
That was my
100%.
confusion.
Oh,
Apologies.
sorry, I get you. Yeah.
They're like
the different orders.
They're like sports teams.
Yeah,
They all have their own anthem. They're all fighting
look,
for the same
some of
thing.
the orders are literally described as like a rowdy sports team at some points. Honestly. Anyway, so we will get to that, but just to build up the foundations, so we're going to talk about Stormlight, that the archives are about. So Stormlight is
the Stormlight that these archives are going into.
When they're stormlighting
exactly.
in the archives.
The Stormlight in
it's,
the
it's
archives.
like lampshading the library, but a bit different.
When the Herald's Darklight Storm.
What
Foreshadowing
Stormlight
in the
is,
study.
it is the primary form of magic on the planet. So it's literally just the magical energy that fuels things in this world. And it is really goddamn easy to get shitloads of. It is a gaseous form of investiture, which can be breathed in. If you may remember from the introductory thing I read before, there was literally stormlight being light on a wall, and the dude breathed it in. It is that easy if you have access to surge binding.
Does it only exist on this planet, or does it exist on every planet?
Stormlight specifically only exists on this planet, but someone could use magic from one of the other worlds to fuel this if they wanted to.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah. So if someone also had the ability to burn those metals from the Mistborn world, they could use that to fuel surge binding. It's just that the metals are... It's the thing about Rosha, and the reason why it's such a wild world with lots of crossover events from the other books in the Cosmere is because everyone on the other worlds is realizing how busted and cheap Rosha is from a magic perspective. In the other worlds, it's really hard. You have to be really lucky to be born with a really specific ability to be able to burn the metal, or you have to spend years gathering souls from hundreds of people that are willing to give it to you, stuff like that, where it's really hard to get lots of access to it.
So can anyone do it here?
No, but if you can bond a Spren, which in theory anyone can do, because there's probably a Spren to match most people, you then have access to surge binding. But also, you can use Stormlight and Investiture like this. You can use it to fuel your other magic, depending what magic you have access to. So, Matt, this is probably going to be just for you, because I doubt anyone else will remember. But if you remember in the Warbreaker episode, there were those returned god people.
Yeah.
And they had that whole thing of every week they consume soul, and if they run out of souls, they die.
The golden skin pit. Why are you excluded from this? I have a memory.
Oh, good.
No, you don't. Don't lie to us. We reset your robot memory every week.
There is a awakened. There's one of these gods. One of them is actually hiding in these novels on this planet because instead of having to suck someone's soul, all he has to do is bathe himself in Stormlight every week, and it gives him the same process.
Nice.
So he's like, "Fuck yeah, this is so much better."
How abundant? Okay, couple things. Mm-hmm. Stormlight, where does it come from? Is it a renewable resource, and how abundant is it?
Tell you what, let me just finish this paragraph before you ask these questions.
You write such wonderful scripts. Our questions are always fulfilled by the next paragraph.
Exactly.
So natural.
So Stormlight appears like a bluish-white light, but it is in effect a gas. It fills gemstones and other crystals and kind of seeps into them and sits in them. And it decays over time, but they can kind of hold this gas for a period of time. They can be as big or small gems and crystals as you want. So if you have a massive crystal, it can hold a fuck ton of it. If you have a tiny crystal, it can hold a little bit of it.
So crystal babies are great in this world.
Yes, they are.
Crystal mummies? Is it crystal mummies?
Yep.
Crystal babies?
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm just going to
You
say
make a
yes.
reference to one of the episodes, but we've
No,
done 40
it's
of
just
them at this point.
I think, is that a term people use? The people who own a ton of crystals?
Oh, like Crystal Girl, like Crystal White Girl sort of thing.
Yeah.
I've never heard that term before, but go on.
Okay, maybe I'm crazy.
You are.
I
Crazy.
don't doubt it.
And it travels, so the Stormlight travels the world in a constantly rolling storm called a high storm, which rolls around the world in this loop. High storms are incredibly powerful, basically just incredibly powerful cyclones that are a full blast of Honor's power. This next quote I'll read just because it's a longer one. I don't want you guys to get tongue-tied too much.
No!
Honor's power during a storm is concentrated in one place. It pierces all three realms and brings physical, cognitive, and spiritual together momentarily in one. The gemstones exposed to the wonder of the spiritual realm are lit up by the infinite power there. So it is basically just Honor going, okay, here's a big open tap to investiture, and I'm just going to roll it around the world all the time. And all you have to do is take shelter when the storm passes overhead and leave a whole bunch of crystals out in the storm, and they're going to get charged up.
I do love that idea that you're putting it. It's like a water tank. You're leaving for the water.
It is literally that.
So it's like a portal to the other realm.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
It does make sense. Like, okay, a lot of the other worlds have been like it's hard to get magic because they're fully built systems, stuff like that. And the last one, it was like very powerful but not really refined because the gods died. This makes sense because while Honor was still building the world, he was under attack and went like, "Fuck! I need everyone in my world to be as powerful as possible. Here's a bunch of magic. Use it."
Exactly.
So this is the system. Make sense. I do love how they reflect the magic system and the power scaling with the events of the world. That's very cool. I do love that.
It is, because ultimately this is a magic system that was made to combat odium, in a sense.
Yeah.
Guy?
We question, my lord.
Yes.
When I was listening to that there quote, I heard you say that there was 3 realms. I know
Yes.
about the spiritual one and the material one. What's the 3rd realm?
So I've been telling a wee fib to you through these episodes.
Hey, I caught something.
Been lying to us?
The cognitive realm is more correct a term for what I've been calling the ethereal realm to you two. The spiritual realm is another place entirely. So where the cognitive realm is kind of like the ghost realm, the spiritual realm is almost questioning if it's really real, and it's kind of like the god realm that overlays everything, to put it really, really simply.
So it's the Feywild. It's the ethereal plane's ethereal plane.
Yeah, basically.
Cool.
Is it just God's layer of existence?
Kind of.
It's the GM layer.
It's the GM layer.
It's the GM layer. Yeah, exactly.
It's God's layer
That's
of
a roll
existence.
20 joke for anyone who didn't fucking get it. That's
shit.
so niche. That's so
no
terrible.
one is going to get that.
All 3 of us laughed at it.
It's in like a gaming software. It's the layer where the person who's running the game can move around tokens so that other players can't see them.
Yeah, exactly. Someone with surge binding, so they've sworn an oath or they've bonded an honor blade, however they've got access to surge binding, all they need to do is breathe in the Stormlight and it fuels them, empowers them. And they are just charged up with Stormlight, basically.
Do they have to eat the crystals or do they have to
Nope,
suck on
they
them?
just have to breathe. They don't even have to, like, suck. They just have to... They just breathe.
I like the idea they suck on them.
Fuck you.
Having my little bath surrounded by my special crystals that I feel better. White girl manifesting, but real.
Yeah.
I literally am just imagining that immortal guy having a bath surrounded by crystals. That's really cute, actually.
So yeah, the other thing about this, which I'll just throw in here, so once again, in classic Sanderson fashion, the magic is directly tied to the currency. So the money in this world is little gemstones as coins, basically, and
interesting.
slightly bigger coins and slightly different types of crystal that hold more Stormlight. We aren't specifically sure why, and that's because Brandon hasn't told us yet, but he's holding on to it like a smug little bastard. We don't specifically know why certain gems, like, say, a diamond, will hold better Stormlight than, say, a sapphire. But there'll be a reason at some point down the line.
It's got a better carbon structure. Come on, Jude. Fuck,
it probably is something like that, and I just don't know, because I don't know chemistry or physics.
Come on,
Question,
man. That is
real
chemistry,
quick
not
though.
physics.
Currency, charged or not charged? Does it matter?
The charged ones are worth more, yes.
Ah, great. I
Can
take
you
my
tell-
money.
look at a
I
crystal,
take
can
my
you tell
money.
what's
I leave it
charged?
outside, and it gains value.
Exactly. But then it's also a thing where some people will try and go around stealing gems while in the high storm, but it's also, like, the most risky shit ever, because, like, imagine the most destructive cyclone that's ever hit Australia, and times it by, like, 10, and that's how powerful high storms are. Like, they literally destroy entire buildings sometimes.
Can I transfer charge from one gem to another? Can I knock them against each other?
Yes. You don't knock them together, but you can transfer charges.
How do
It
you
takes
tell if the
time?
crystal's full?
Yes.
How do you
I
tell?
was trying to pick
They are, like, really fucking bright glowing. So the Stormlight, it is a very bright bluish white light.
okay. Honor, you didn't have to make your giant cyclone destructive. You know what I mean? Like, you could have just made it, like, nicer than that. Like a rainbow. Like, whenever the rainbow comes after a little sun, that's the magic.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if he could make it.
I don't think he could.
He needs
I
to
don't think he
transfer grand amounts of power. It's not like we
Yeah.
can do that, choose to do that peacefully
Yeah.
or not. Like, he's a god,
That's
but
fair.
like, it's power
But-
transfer at the end of the day.
But guy, I like my magic
So-
at the end of the rainbow with my pot of gold.
Anyway, moving on from that, so just finishing this off. So when inhaled, Stormlight gives the user a sensation of increased energy, restlessness, and the desire to move, with several people comparing it to a storm raging inside of them. There's a lot of storm analogies in this book. While holding Stormlight, it will automatically heal wounds, exhaustion, and even conditions such as poisoning and drunkenness. Stormlight doesn't give the Surgebinder much additional raw strength, but they are a little bit stronger than the average person. But the way that they are kind of a lot stronger is that they can do some things with strength that would otherwise be impossible due to their healing factor, like punch a wall so hard that it literally shatters every bone in their arm, but it will be healed immediately as it breaks. Stuff like that. So they can kind of put
I don't
even
think
more...
I can do that. Depends on the wall, right? Like a brick.
Oh,
If
yeah.
it's a brick wall,
Oh yeah,
could,
like
could
it's...
you break it? If
Probably
you
not.
Broke your arm?
Probably not.
Yeah.
But the point is, like, they are, especially if there's maybe different surges that can let them put more momentum behind their body, which we'll get into, stuff like that, they can kind of use their body as a big wrecking ball, knowing that they'll heal themselves afterwards. Obviously,
That is
it
very
depends,
funny, I love
Obviously,
that.
it depends on the Radiant doing it, because not all Radiants are prepared to just completely crumple their body and heal themselves again, because it fucking hurts. You
Put
can
me in the
assume-
cannon. What?
Put me in,
it.
coach. Put me in. So,
Can't break concrete. Can break bricks, though. I googled, how can I break brick wall with my fist, and the first video is called How to Punch a Brick Wall.
there you go. So it can also be consumed to power surges. Stormlight does get consumed doing these small things, but generally it's only the surges that really drain it. The amount used for strength and healing is sort of minimal. Also, your eyes glow bright blue, and you give off a very strong glow. The average knight isn't a great stealth operative.
Yeah, how much can you hold?
Generally, you can... There isn't really a specific amount, it's more just how much you can breathe in from around you. And you have to be careful, because it is quite literally gas that you breathe in. You don't need... It will sustain you from, like, an oxygen point of view, but if you open your mouth or talk or yell while you've got Stormlight, you will be letting out Stormlight.
Yeah, so it doesn't, like, stay in your body. You have to
Exactly.
have that breath in you.
Yeah, exactly. So if someone were to knock the breath out of you, it might make you lose all of your Stormlight, and then you'll have to breathe in some more. So,
Interesting.
stuff and things.
Stuff and things.
Stuff and things.
So, without further ado, we are going to talk about the surges and the magic powers themselves, and the Knight Radiant Order that uses them. As you will
do it.
see, each surge is connected to another one that creates certain pairings. This means that someone will be able to do a specific pairing of surges, but not all of them, and certainly no unique pairings. Honor is very rigid in how the surges were created. The Spren are also chief amongst this, as they are imitating the very Honor blades to begin with, eventually letting their bondmate shape the Spren onto the physical plane as a shard blade. But we'll get to that. Key to the
Swords.
Knight's Radiant are oaths sworn at different levels of training and progression. These oaths are then accepted or rejected by Honor himself, giving a new strength to the Spren and human bondmates, unlocking greater powers. What we will do is blast through all the orders, then we'll walk through their powers and break them down a bit more. Then each of us will decide where the others belong and which order we fit into. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And not at all roasting and heartbreaking. So the quick fire version is Windrunners. Their Spren is Honor Spren. Their attribute is Protecting. Then we have, and their surges are Adhesion and Gravitation. Next we have the Skybreakers. They bond High Spren. They are all about justice, and their surges are Gravitation and Division. So you start to see the double ups here. Then we have the Dustbringers. They bond Ash Spren. They are all about bravery. They have Division and Abrasion. Then we have Edge Dancers, who bond Cultivation Spren. They are all about healing, and they have Abrasion and Progression. We have Truth Watchers, who bond Mist Spren. They are all about learning and giving information. They have Progression and Illumination. Then we have light weavers who bond cryptics, otherwise known as Lyspren. They are all about creativity, and they have illumination and transformation. Creativity. Else callers bond Inkspren, sorry. They are all about wisdom, and they have transformation and transportation. Then we have the Will Shapers, who bond Lightspren. They are all about resolute builders, that sort of thing. They have transportation and cohesion. Then the Stone Wards, who bond Peakspren. They are about dependable and resourcefulness. They have cohesion and tension. And then Bondsmiths. There is only 3 Bondsmiths, but we'll get to them later. They are all about piousness and guidance, and they have tension and adhesion, wrapping us back around to the start.
What's their spren?
Honor himself. Moving
Bitch! Pretty good.
on. Moving on. So
What's peak spren? Sorry.
Peak spren. They're kind of like a stone spren. They're connected to like mountain peaks, that sort of thing.
Oh, okay. So peak of a mountain. Okay.
Yeah. So that was the quickfire version. I will give a bit more proper explanation shortly.
I was gonna say, you just said 40 keywords and they did not stick in my head.
I did not expect them to. I just wanted this. I wanted you to hear them first, so that then when you hear them again, it's like, oh, that thing.
Yeah, we need a explanation of each surge, and then we can try the combos.
Don't worry, we're getting there. So the 10 surges themselves, the quickfire version of them, before I explain them a little bit better. So adhesion allows you to bind things together. Gravitation allows you to change the direction and strength of an object's gravitational attraction. Division allows you to manipulate the rate an object decays at. Abrasion allows you to make objects, including yourself, frictionless. Progression allows you to heal organisms and speed up their growth. Illumination allows you to create illusions. Transformation allows you to soulcast objects from one material into another. Transmuter's stone sort of thing. Transportation allows you to travel between the cognitive and physical realms. Cohesion allows you to alter the shape of solid objects. And finally, tension allows you to alter the stiffness of objects.
That's useful.
I know, right? So that's now to expand on them now that you've heard the keywords. So the first one is Windrunners. Their whole thing is I will protect. I protect. Those who join the Windrunners generally subscribe to a philosophy of protection, particularly defending innocents or those who are unable to protect themselves. The Order believe in structures of command, team dynamics, and the importance of a strong squad. They are very militaristic by nature. They tend to attract big brother types and those who seek to protect the defenseless, but also those who enjoy action and fighting for what they believe in. So that's the loose thing of the Windrunners. They're surges of adhesion and gravitation. So, adhesion can be
sucks.
Well, you'll be surprised. So, the surge of adhesion can be manipulated to bind things. Oh, I see what you mean. Fuck you. They can be manipulated to bind things together. So, a use of this is something called a full lashing. This ability creates an extremely powerful temporary bond between 2 objects. To use this, the Surge Binder infuses the surface with Stormlight, after which any object or person that comes into contact with the surface will be bound to it.
The power of sticky glue.
Yes. Most objects would break apart before the bond holding them would break. So if you attach 2 bricks together, the bricks are more likely to break than the joining point.
I've seen that infomercial. It's a good infomercial.
Yeah.
It's a great infomercial.
The duration
It even works underwater.
The duration of the bond is determined by the amount of Stormlight used, and the bond ends when the Stormlight runs out.
Yeah, how long is that? What's an average length?
It really depends. The longest we've kind of seen it last is a couple of hours at most.
Okay. It's a good look. I'm thinking like there's scales here, right? It's like there's a couple minutes. There's hours, and then there's like days and years. So like you wouldn't build a building out of it, but you could hold an enemy back.
Exactly.
But you couldn't starve the enemy to death and mummify them by tying their feet to the floor and then depriving them of water and food.
No, not quite. Unless they were very close to starvation already.
Yeah.
If they've got a couple hours left in them, you know. So yes, question on
That's
it.
adhesion. Okay, cool. Anything else we need to know about adhesion?
No, well, there's a little bit, but I'll just explain gravitation because then I'll explain how they work together.
Yeah. Yes.
So gravitation is used to manipulate and change the direction and strength of an object's gravitational attraction. So the basic lashing of this alters an object or being's spiritual gravitational bond to the planet below, instead temporarily linking it in a different direction. It allows the surge binder to run up walls. If they go, my sense of gravity is now this wall, then the wall's going to become the floor to you. That sort of thing.
The only problem with that, it depends. If they make stuff out of, if they're like medieval and they make stuff out of stone, it's fine. But if you try to walk up your wall in your house, I think you'd go right through it.
Oh, yeah, no shit. But it depends on the, well, actually, not necessarily, but we'll get to that. But I mean, it is also a medieval setting, so it's mostly stone walls.
Stone walls, baby.
So, or send objects or people flying off into the air if they want to instead. Lashings only affect gravitational pull and not mass, so different things with different masses will still fall at the same speed. They aren't changing your weight, basically. Lashings can only send something in a particular direction and cannot be locked into following an object, so you can't go, your gravitational pull is now on this person that's running away from you. You can't do that. You can just go, your gravitational pull is now that direction. Surge binders can rotate themselves in the air using wind resistance and can also lessen the force of the wind while flying. So they can affect how strong the gravitational pull is. So, for example, they can make it a if they make it a really, really strong pull, like put 6 or 7 lashings up into the air, they're going to fly off into the sky. If they just put 1, they're going to go kind of slow, that sort of thing.
They can be like human gliders.
Yeah, that's thus their name, Windrunners.
Makes a lot of sense.
The Windrunners, it's kind of a recurring meme where the Windrunners like to go around saying that they can fly, but then everyone goes, shut up, you're just falling in reverse. Because they're literally
with style.
Yeah, because they're literally just changing their sense of gravity to be, okay, my gravity is now going up. Whoop! And now I'm going to make gravity that way. So it's a really kind of janky flying, but it's more kind of akin to gliding than anything else.
The landing would be so terrifying because you got to time the reverse and then unreverse, and you've got to like coming down and then you reverse it and you slow and you're feeling like you're getting to the top of a jump and then you reverse again.
Yep,
It's like it's what is it? It's like orbit, right? You're just trying to. They're orbiting the planet. Just
Yeah,
gotta try and get into a stable orbit.
Yeah. So the other thing with this as well, I won't talk too much about gravitation as much as it could be talked about for ages. People have discovered that by using significantly smaller amounts of stormlight, you can create either a half lashing or a quarter lashing. And what effect this will have, instead of fully changing your sense of gravity, it will only partially change it. So, for example, if you were to do a half lashing upwards, it would effectively make the surge binder weightless, because they've got equal pull of gravity from directly above and below them. Or you can just make yourself significantly lighter on your feet by giving like a quarter lashing up to just make a little bit of your weight not going to the floor beneath you.
Yeah, God. I'm so mad this is a magical world, because you don't think about, sometimes you don't think about the physics of, like, these forces acting on your body would, if you weren't a magical being, you'd probably get torn apart.
Oh, yeah. Oh, don't worry. There's plenty of ways where they kill people by just ripping them into the ceiling and they just get crumpled into a mass. Yeah. Don't worry. The non-magic people get fucked by this stuff, man.
No question. How does the adhesion part contribute to the Windrunner identity?
So,
like, flying through the air is the Windrunner. That's it. That's the Windrunner identity. You fly around. What's adhesion got to do with it?
I mean, just one of them is a lot more useful than the other, so that's kind of where they built their identity.
They just went with the one that's better.
No, I like the idea that they stick people to the floor, so they said, you can't run, you can't even get off the ground.
But the way that they work together is in something called a reverse lashing, where through the combination of adhesion and gravitation, the Windrunner can create a bubble around a surface that imitates its spiritual link to the ground beneath it. In effect, this makes the infused object pull other objects towards it. So they can make like a mini black hole by making gravity flip to this object, and it's going to stick in this direction.
So I shoot an arrow over an enemy army, make it into that thing, and then it just, like, distracts the enemies or it pulls their helmets
Yeah,
off
the
or
most,
something.
the most, a really common, yeah, the more effective use for it is,
Pull arrows.
yeah, if you've got a whole group of men behind you that you're trying to protect on the charge in, and you hold up your shield, and you put a reverse lashing on that shield, the big volley of arrows is going to get sucked into the shield rather than into your poor soldiers behind you.
That's
That does
great.
break
I like
the
that.
one rule of gravity is that you can't put it on an object, but still.
Yeah, it's the combo. Yeah, well, it's yeah, exactly. But it's the
power
combination
combo.
of both of them. Yeah,
Yeah, it's their unique thing.
that is. Yeah, quite literally, it is their thing. So next is the Skybreakers. Their thing is I will seek justice.
What is the Windrunner thing again? Sorry, they
I will
break?
protect.
Similar but different. That's fair.
Yeah. I'm gonna give someone this quote. It's a little bit of a long one. Matt, you can have it because it'll be funny.
These guys keep you safe, and the other guys,
The
if these guys
Skybreakers.
fail.
The Skybreakers are the edgy fuckers.
oh no, here we go. Okay, edgy voice then. Let's do it.
I watched you destroy yourself in the name of order. Watched you obey your personal code when others would have fled or crumbled.
A name? Oh fuck.
So
Zenith's son, Nude Reno. I watched you keep your word with perfection.
He's dying. He's dying.
needs
He's
water.
coughing and dying. He needs water.
He needs
He's
water.
refueling.
This voice is killing me.
Also, that name had a T in it. I did not hear that T, but that's alright.
It's silent. It's a silent team, you know.
Good, yeah. That's okay.
This is a thing lost to most people. It is the only genuine beauty in the world. I doubt I have ever found a man more worthy of Skybreakers than you. And a man more worthy of my bed. Sorry, I thought I'd have
hey,
that.
shut up. These characters are a ship.
Yeah!
I think they are partially. Anyway,
That is
They
the most
are on
glazing
this
up you can do to
podcast.
someone.
On this podcast, we ship
Yeah.
these two.
We ship.
Yeah.
That is a glaze.
no, I love
The way you kept your oath made me so fucking horny, man.
Yeah. So the individuals who join the Skybreakers generally believe in following a very strong moral code. They wish to prevent both anarchy and tyranny. To do so, they enforce the law on everyone. They particularly want to make sure the other orders of Radiants do not use their powers to break the law and become tyrants. So they kind of police the other Radiants to an extent, and the other Radiants hate them for it.
Literally
they use
1984.
Yep. They use moral codes and legal structures to fight for justice and causes they believed in. Don't worry, there's nothing bad's gonna happen with these guys in the future. Don't worry about it.
No, I
So-
can't see
Become the
a
tyrants.
people who want total order ever being the bad guys.
No. So the power that these guys have, the Skybreakers, funnily enough, their name is really fitting for the two surges they've got. They've got the gravitational one, so they can fly, so Sky, and they've got
that.
Division, the one of destruction, thus the Skybreakers. Whoa.
Whoa, we're skying and we're breaking. I love it when he
Yep.
skied and then he broke all over the place.
These guys are better at naming.
Yep. So the Surge of Gravitation we've already talked about, so we can skip over that. These guys have that as well, but what they've also got Division. So the Surge of Division can be manipulated to have power over destruction and decay. The Surge Binder can touch an object and cause it to burn, turn to dust, or decay in other ways. The Surge Binder can excise significant control, such as to burn a pattern into a piece of wood. Or they can simply use it to make a human decay in front of them.
Yeah, great. Fuck me. I wonder which one they use more often.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yep. This splits the molecular. So what this does, supposedly, is it splits the molecular bonds of the objects the surge is being used on, but doesn't break the atoms themselves.
What?
I
That's
deconstructed
not-
him atom by atom.
Yes.
I mean, well, it's molecule by molecule because you're not. If you broke the atom, I think you'd fucking cause a nuclear.
No.
I mean, I just
taking
said it
atoms-
takes the
I'm taking
molecular
atoms
bonds
away
apart.
from them one at a time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I literally specifically said it doesn't break the atoms.
I thought I heard Guy said it breaking the atom.
I said it tore him apart atom by atom, which could be interpreted as me destroying the atoms, but in fact what I meant was, in the context of this situation, tearing him apart by taking atoms away one by one.
Okay, Oppenheimer.
Fuck you.
Yes.
That wouldn't turn someone old. That would turn them to dust.
That's what it does. That's what I said. It turns it to dust, or it burns them. One or the other.
That's horrible.
Yeah. When I
You
say
said other
decay,
forms of decay.
I mean, I don't think there's any other ways, but you know, it's also one of those things where Brando says or decay in other ways every time he talks about division, and I'm like, is he waiting to show some really fucked up use for it that no one's thought of yet?
How do you
He's
decay water?
got something under. He's got something in the works.
Sorry, Matt.
How do you decay water?
I don't necessarily think you do, because you have to touch an object, and water isn't really an object, is it?
Okay, that's gonna start a whole.
Water wet.
Anyway, we never see it used on liquids. I'll say that much.
Honestly, I didn't think it would work. I think you're right. I don't think it would work.
So yeah, it's really fucked up, and it can do some really disgusting, brutal things. But also, you get people that love to use decay and division to create sculptures, or adding color when burning objects, or grayscaling them, that sort of thing.
But also, who else do you want to have the power to eviscerate someone piece by atomic piece other than the cops?
Yes. Exactly. Like I say, the Skybreakers.
I
there is
can't
nothing...
see them misusing that at all.
100%. Especially considering one of those Herald people is running around with this power, who is being tortured constantly, that definitely isn't going to go insane or anything. What do you mean?
Concern that feel. A spoiler warning at the start of the episode is doing some work.
It is. So that's division. We'll move on to the Dustbringers next. So the Dustbringers' whole thing is, I will seek self-mastery. And I will give out this quote to read to... so the Dustbringers tend to use division a lot more than the Skybreakers, as can be evidenced by this quote that Guy's going to read for us.
Am I doing evil little wizard?
Give us an evil little wizard.
Smoke curled from the occasional patches of growth or heaps of burning corpses. Even some sections of rock smoldered. The Dustbringers had done their work well.
Fuck these guys. What the hell? Wait, hang on. I will seek self-mastery. Sounds like a monk quote, and then you've got these guys just like, murder.
Well, we'll get into it, because the thing about the Dustbringers is that they, the Dustbringers' whole thing is they believe that great power requires a strong will to control it, and their oaths are designed to teach them to control their destructive power.
Great power requires great responsibility.
Exactly, that is the whole thing of the Dustbringers. While their powers can be used to destroy large swaths of land, acting like artillery, they prefer to work in a more controlled and nuanced manner. So that's cute. The Dustbringers tend to be, because remember, all of these different orders, it isn't just any old Tom, Jim, and Jerry that can sign up to be a Dustbringer or a Skybreaker. They have to be someone that a Spren is feeling the connection to and sees as having lined up principles to the order.
Remind me of the Spren for these guys.
For the Dustbringers, I believe it's Ash Spren. So once again, I will say, not alluding or giving any kind of worrying things or anything. No one can be accepted by an oath without honor accepting their oath. So just because a Spren thinks this person would be a great Dustbringer, just because this person has sworn the first oath of the Dustbringers, just because all of that happens, doesn't mean their words will be accepted by honor.
How many people get rejected?
Quite a few.
That's so funny.
Honor's a picky
Imagine
bitch.
going to high school,
But-
completely entirely of high school, and then you get to the end of it and you just said no.
But what would have happened if Honor wasn't watching them? I don't know.
Does Honor fucking die?
I don't know.
Okay. He could have just gone for holiday. Like,
Yeah.
He's
God's
off
been on
on
vacation.
Smoko. Don't bully him. He's having a
on
pie and an
on
iced
Smoker,
coffee.
yeah.
So that's the Dustbringers. They use their division, but the other surge they have is Abrasion, which is, I don't know, I really like Abrasion. I think it's one of the funnest ones. So the surge of Abrasion can be manipulated to alter the frictional force between two surfaces. This ability allows the Surge Binder to make their body frictionless. The Surge Binder can choose which parts of the body are affected and which parts are not. For example, the bottom of their feet can be infused so that the Surge Binder glides over any surface without losing momentum until the ability is suspended. Wind friction can also be affected. However, slicking in this way doesn't reduce the force of direct collisions, so if they're sliding too hard and too fast, they're going to hurt themselves. People experienced in this often use it to move as though they are ice skating on the ground. Slicking or surge binding in this way can also be used to escape any grasp or slip through any tight openings. It can also be applied to objects, making it so that only the surge binder can grip the object without it slipping. So if they coat a crystal in their abrasion Stormlight, then only they're going to be able to hold it, and to anyone else it's going to have no friction. It's just going to slip out of their hands. That sort of thing.
Nice.
So yeah, I don't know. I love these guys.
Something with no friction. You just gotta like cup your hands.
Well,
you know?
yeah, no shit, but like it's, you know, if it's an object that someone's actively wrestling you to try and keep off you, it's going to be really fucking hard, is the point.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I don't know. These guys are really sick. They're kind of like, they will just slide along surfaces they shouldn't be able to slide along. Like they'll fucking skid along the sides of buildings and weird points of, yeah. You get the idea.
This would literally break physics, like everything.
Oh, both. I saw when Matt and I heard this power, we were both like, hold up. Because if you can make that, you can make an infinite power machine.
Obviously, you need infinite Stormlight because you need to keep it for like, it loses its eventually will lose. But like, you could like if you could figure out a way to run on like very minimal Stormlight, you could make infinite energy.
Yep.
Kind of crazy.
People are very much looking forward to what this power is going to do when Brandon makes Stormlight go into the industrial era, which is coming eventually.
Not necessarily infinite energy,
anyway.
but yeah.
You could make a near because the biggest problem with energy production right now and transforming like energy is you lose like 90 something percentage or like a lot of energy to
Yeah,
like
much higher efficiency and therefore very, very many multiple times stronger energy generation.
And you wouldn't need as big batteries for things, so it'd be like more efficient, stuff like that.
Science, baby.
Nerding out.
Exactly. So the
it is very cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
So the so that's abrasion. The next group who use abrasion very well, thus their name, are the edge dancers. So the edge dancers' loose motto of sorts is "I will remember." And edge dancers generally subscribe to a philosophy of remembering the ordinary people of the world. The Order considers it their solemn duty to remember that the people are the ones they truly serve. They even aspire to remember and hear their enemies, as their stories could provide insight. Edge dancers see it as their duty to care for the common folk and improve their daily lives. They tend to attract religious people and leaders of those who advocate for ordinary people.
I will remember you.
Exactly.
These are my favorite. Actual good people. Look at that.
And what better power to give the edge dancers than progression, which is which can be altered to manipulate growth and healing of organisms.
Yay!
This ability accelerates organic growth to tremendous speeds. The Surge Binder can infuse the seeds of a plant with Stormlight through skin contact, and in seconds it will become a fully developed plant. It is unknown if this ability only works on plants or if it could work on other things.
I age a human until he's a withered husk.
No one's tried
If that
it
doesn't happen sometime, that's got to be a thing. That would be the coolest shit of all time.
I mean, maybe. It seems like the kind of thing that would happen, to be honest. But it's also because it's that what's the word? Is that conflicting thing where maybe you could do that, but that would kind of go against, depending what the situation is, that would kind of be going against the very oaths and intent and ideals of the Order of the Edge Dancers to do that to someone.
Oh, definitely. But
Okay.
I think like in a crucial moment, you know?
Question though.
Yeah.
If I've made my oath, I am now Surge Boy. Do I legally have to keep it? Do I turn to dust if I break it?
I don't think that's what happens if you legally break something, guy.
I turn to if I legally break something, I turn to dust.
If you break the law, you turn to dust.
What can happen if you break your oath? It depends how far along you are, and it depends how you break it. You can do things like... Generally, a lot of the time, the human side of it is unaffected, but the Spren takes on a lot more risk, and the Spren can be killed in the process of breaking an oath.
Right,
Oh,
okay.
Paul.
Which is in some ways worse. Because you kind of murder your most loyal and best friend to an extent. So, you know.
Interesting. I can see that happen. Like,
Yeah.
I know I've seen it happen in a book where someone's like creates healing magic and they're really good at it, and they use it to like stop someone's heart because they can like they have access to their body, which is really interesting.
Interesting.
So like, I feel like that kind of thing would be like a person who's like really like a healer, and in the last moment they have to do it for something, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it could be interesting. So the ability heals the damage done to a body. and the soul of a person instantly and without any scarring. The flesh, muscles, or bones can be completely regrown rapidly. The body can be refreshed and rid of any fatigue. The Surge Binder can even bring someone back to life if the body is intact and their soul hasn't yet slipped away. Very Revivify in D&D, like, where you've got, like, a short amount of time to bring them back.
Yeah.
Defib me, baby. Defib me.
My next sentence is, think of it like a defibrillator for those who don't know.
Yes.
Those who don't know D&D. This ability will fail to heal injuries that are too old. So if it's a like long-term thing and you go to someone after you've had it for years, they probably won't do anything about it. And regrowth is inferior to the normal healing that all Radiants have, but obviously you can use it on someone else rather than it just being you. However, Surge Binders that have got progression can stack regrowth with their own healing to heal much faster than normal.
Oh, that's cool. Does it work on mental injuries or diseases?
No, it does not.
Sad.
It is purely physical growth. Yes, that is a very sad thing because there are a lot of... This book series deals with a lot of mental... a lot of various mental issues and illnesses and struggles and everything in between.
People have been battling for like 1,000 years and being tortured for that long. I think you'd have some issues.
Yeah. So the Truth Watchers, the next one along, their thing is I will seek truth. And those who join the Truth Watchers generally subscribe to a philosophy of finding the ultimate truth and sharing it. The Order is concerned with the fundamental truths of the universe and whether or not those in power are being truthful with the people they lead. A small percentage of the Truth Watchers are greatly concerned with the actions of the powerful and might be likened to investigative reporters. Wow, that was a mouthful to get out. The Order will make their opinions known loudly and forcefully, particularly if they think someone in power is abusing that power or lying about fundamental truths. They tend to attract scientists, scholars, or thinkers of all types. Divine attributes of the Truth Watchers are learned and giving, as I said previously. So they aren't necessarily warriors, Truth Watchers, but they definitely fill a area in this group.
I feel like that's us. That's the law keepers.
That's our group. Yes, exactly.
That's us. So,
I'm not fucking snitch. Goddamn, don't rope me in.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to keep the law,
tells truth.
You want to keep the law,
fuck that shit,
and spread the law to the people. You got to be a Truth Watcher, guy.
Exactly.
Guess I'm not taking the oath, then, bitch.
And subscribe to us on all social medias at Living by the Law,
including Patreon. So the Truth Watchers, they have progression as well, so they can also heal people. But the other thing that they've got is illumination. So the Surge of Illumination can be manipulated to create auditory and visual illusions. This ability creates visual and auditory, and the illusion is based upon not just what the Surge Binder imagines, but also desires to create, requiring both a mental picturing and a spiritual connection to the intended creation. So it's not enough to just be able to picture a thing and do it or draw it. You also really need to have intention behind your action.
What does that mean, having a spiritual connection to an illusion?
It's a little bit philosophical, I guess you could say. It's kind of attributing an idea of intent being important to magic. You have to really be intending for a particular thing to happen. You don't just... I guess a really simple way of breaking it down, just because you are scribbling a drawing and think of it in your mind, it's not gonna suddenly, oh no, whoops, I created an illusion when I didn't mean to. You need to be intending to create an illusion.
Does that imply that the other magics could happen accidentally?
No, intent is important to all of them, but it's just this one's particularly important because thinking of an illusion to create could just happen a lot easier.
I guess
you
right.
you really need to believe in what you're making.
Yeah, the intent is a lot more important when you're dealing with a creative landscape of it could be literally anything in your mind, you know?
I also imagine the Stormlight cost of like a small illusion is probably pretty negligible.
Yeah.
Probably a bit easier to fart one of those out in an accident.
Yeah. So the illusion can be created anywhere, but requires a constant source of Stormlight, so the Surge Binder, or a being the Surge Binder is linked to, needs to keep in proximity to it. Because the illusion automatically feeds off the Surge Binder, the glowing effect common to Surge Binders, as the Stormlight leaks out of their bodies, does not happen, as excess Stormlight is instead fed to the illusion. So it can be a way to kind of hide yourself. So so people with Illumination are one of the few people that can actually be sneaky. And also because they could, completely illusion themselves.
They gave the fucking stealth tools to the nerds.
Yeah,
they can watch you.
No.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
unless the Surge Binders intentionally dissolve the apparition, it will stay active until the source runs out of Stormlight or the Stormlight leaves the proximity of the illusion.
It's so they can hide at parties, guy.
Yeah, legit. It can even stay active while the Surge Binder is unconscious. Attaching a light weaving to a being they are bonded with will cause their Stormlight to drain faster. So if you attach the Stormlight to, for example, a really good use of it, attaching an illusion to your Spren, who can then flit around and be a moving illusion, is going to drain it faster than if it's attached to you.
Question that I should have asked earlier.
Yes.
Stormlight. Is that a thing that renews passively, like, at all? Or is it, like, one and done until the storm comes back, bar the batteries?
Correct. You have to wait until you get more charged from a storm.
Damn, those gems are really important then.
Yeah, people keep shed loads of them. Like they have.
Yeah, I would
entire bags.
imagine so.
Shit.
Yeah, but it is also a very real thing where you do have to be a little bit careful, especially people going into war have to be a little bit careful rationing themselves out, because if they blow through, if they don't have access to supply lines and they blow through all of their Stormlight and there's not going to be another high storm for like a week, they're going to be like, ooh, panic.
Yeah, just normal guys. So
They are just normal. They literally are just normal
Ammunition
guys.
more than stamina, right? Cool.
It is, yeah, exactly.
Another question I haven't really
yes.
asked, but should have. What are the ranges on most of these? Like the K one you said was, I feel that you said was touch.
Yep.
But like gravity one, illusion one, what's the range?
Well, because the gravity one is a lot of them are touch for the most part. I think pretty much all of them are touch to some extent, because even the gravity one, your range is unlimited with which direction you're pushing it, but you have to touch the object that you're changing gravity on. So you can't go, you over there, your gravity's up. You have to walk over to him and touch his shoulder and go, you're now going up. That sort of thing.
It makes it more balanced.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, I just imagined the Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse hey moment, but he's a gravity bender and he just sends Gwen to the ceiling.
Hey. Woo!
So this way, an illusion of a disguise can mimic... sorry, I skipped over a bit there. That's right.
So sorry, sometimes my brain just produces images and I need to
That's all right.
talk about them.
That's all right. It's possible for the
all we're here
Surge
for, guys.
Binder to attach the illusion to themselves, as well as being the spiritual link to. And when they do this, the illusion automatically follows their movements. So this way, an illusion of a disguise can mimic facial expressions or adapt to the clothing or the accessories they are wearing. So it's kind of a
that's
smart
great.
illusion in a sense.
Nice.
Cool.
You don't get any like D&D disguise self shenanigans where your disguise is going to like clip through something if you try to put an extra hat on or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Oops. So experienced practitioner of this art can also attach the illusion to an object, which is infused with Stormlight, such as one of the little gemstone spheres. The illusionary image has no substance to it. And if an object physically passes through the illusion, the image fuzzes until the object is withdrawn. So if you poke it, it goes all fuzzy until you stop poking it. Translation of that.
Nice.
And the light itself does not pass through the illusion. If the Surge Binder wants to see through it, they must put in viewing holes. The amount of Stormlight the illusion requires depends on the complexity of it. So like you're saying, Guy, it could be very easy to accidentally fart out a little fucking stick figure man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if it's like a really complex, you're drawing a mountainside to cover you as an illusion, then...
You gotta put some fucking beans into that.
Yeah, exactly.
Has anyone ever disguised themselves in a corner or against a mountain or similar disguise to avoid oncoming enemies before running out of Stormlight and having to stare sheepishly at the oncoming enemies?
So many times.
Yay!
Like, so
That's
many times.
so sad, but also very funny. Very Benny Hill.
Yeah, look. So that brings us into the Light Weavers, who, thus, as their name would suggest, are the order most famous for using these illusions and light weaving. And and they are the ones that bond the cryptic spren, and their ideal is I will speak my truth.
Yeah, let me guess. The propaganda agency.
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah.
While each Order of Radiance contains a variety of personalities within it, those who join the Lightweavers generally subscribe to a philosophy of speaking truths about themselves that they must admit in order to progress as people. The Cryptic Spren love complicated people that are so busy lying to themselves and so wound up and pent up that they barely even know who they are.
Every single one has imposter syndrome.
Oh, like legit though. The main character, not the main character, but the prospective character that is a Lightweaver is literally suffering from split personality disorder that is explored through this whole ideals of speaking truth and stuff. It's really interesting. The Order finds it important to be able to separate the real from the lie and use that to move forward. Lightweavers tend to be free spirits, and many among their Order see the importance of entertainment, beauty, and art in a person's life. The Order strives to make sure that the world has something to live for. They tend to attract those who are interested in the art, intrigue, secrets, and espionage. So the other
Espionage was just snuck in there, wasn't it? Just like,
What do you mean? What do you mean?
telling the truth and espionage.
We've got the journalists, we've got the artists, we've got the international super spies.
Yep. So the other thing that they have got, as well as the light weaving, is soul casting. This ability transforms any material into one of the Surgebinder's choice. So this is like transmutation stone, that sort of shenanigan. To soulcast, the Surgebinder shifts their perception to see into the cognitive realm and communicates with the cognitive aspect of the object they want to transform. It's really fucking complicated, and it's hilarious reading because there's a very funny scene where the way that transmuting is done in this world, it is effectively the person wanting to convince the object that it is no longer what it is, but it is something else. For example, a really simple one is like turning a stick into, I don't know, a rock. And when one of the characters is trying to learn about the soul casting and they're trying to work on it, they're having this conversation with a stick, and the stick is just saying, "I am a stick," because that's all it is. It believes it's a stick.
So is it convincing, like persuading, or is it gaslighting?
Bit of both.
Also,
There's a very narrow line between those two things, Matthew.
is it just material or is it shape as well?
Shape a little bit, yes.
Cool.
Yeah. So this is normally done through direct contact with an object. However, people that are very experienced can perform it from a distance.
What's the other power? Sorry, I forgot.
The light weaving, the illusion one.
Yep.
Fake it till you make it.
Yep. So, not every object is inclined to change, depending on how the object is seen by the sentient species and how the object sees itself. So the Surgebinder may need to negotiate with it. Once the object is convinced into changing, the Surgebinder infuses it with Stormlight, and the transformation process takes place instantaneously. It is technically possible for the Surgebinder to transform anything into anything else, but transforming something into the pure form of an essence is the easiest to accomplish. This one is a little bit complicated, and there's a whole bunch of different tables that you can get into, but I'm not going to because I've already lost you guys. But in the world, there is a whole bunch of like essence breakdowns that talk you through the steps of transformation and how different things can transform. So a really easy one is transforming water into blood. That's a really easy one.
I'm hearing Jesus moment again. We're back to Jesus, the J-Man.
Nah.
Water to wine.
Big Jeezy.
Jeezy.
But yeah, so some things like that. I think there is a moment where one of the more gifted transformation people does change blood of their enemies into smoke, and they just collapse dead and burnt out. It's really fucking graphic.
What the fuck? What did he say to the blood to be like, yeah, you're smoke, baby?
You don't want to know, man.
He's a real smooth
Is
talker.
time paused? How do they or do they have to like sit down and concentrate and they look into the other realm? Can they?
They better hope they can do it quickly, huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's a real. I really really like that as a blocker on this power, because so often like transmutation seems like it would like utterly break. Like Harry Potter, there's transmutation. It's like, wouldn't that just break the world economy like so fucking hard? And it's like in this one, you got to convince it, and then you got to pay a price, and then it might not even stay that way. So who fucking knows?
Also, like what? Okay, there must be this is not touch. Then there must be a range.
No, so you can do it at range, but it is significantly harder to do it from range. It's to do with kind of the way that we see it play out in the novels is it's like trying to have a conversation with someone up close as opposed to yelling at them from across the room is a really, really easy way to put it.
Yelling at them across like a crowd as well, because you got to deal with all the other spirits in between.
Yeah. So
Also,
it's best done by touch, but people can do it from range.
Can you step... Wait, so I might have missed something, but can you step transform? Like, can I transform rock into gold, into molten gold, into lava? Or is, like, not an option?
Yeah, in theory.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just
if you do
consecutive gaslighting.
Yeah. If you do step by step, it is generally easier than doing one big jump. So that is kind of one of the ways that they try to teach this transformation and for people to learn about the different like steps of essence. Like I say, I'm not going to go through all of them because this is just one of many powers. But yeah, there's way too much detailed stuff on this in his books.
Brandon spends too much time on some of these powers. He sat down for like a week, like, damn.
Man cooked.
Negotiate with
cook and he cooked.
Man did cook.
We let him cook and he cooked. One more question on that one. Shit, it's gone.
Can you negotiate?
Oh no, I had it. Oh, can I? Okay, how complicated does the unanswer be? You said it's easier to do simple, but could I go like I have a pencil, right? And the guy's got, oh, you're back against a wall, and you're like, nah, this pencil's a gun. And he pulls out a gun and shoots him.
Guns.
If the guns existed.
Probably not, because it's less about I turn this into a sword and more I turn this pen into iron. It's more about changing the essences. Shapes can change a bit along the way, but you're more likely to turn your pen into a really sharp steel pen that you can then use to stab them.
Okay, so it needs to be somewhat similar mass.
Yeah, that's generally the easier way to do it. We haven't seen anyone do a complete and utter overhaul of the thing's shape. Unless you count changing a solid into a gas, which I guess you do, but we haven't seen someone physically alter an object in its entirety.
That's fair. I feel like turning to a gas wouldn't immediately change its shape. It would for a split second it'd be the same shape, and then it would disperse.
Exactly.
Like, but I'm like, okay, so if I had a big stick, I could make a sword.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Guy, you were going to say anything?
No, that's all. I'm all good. I'm just listening. I just murmur sometimes. Sometimes I make little noises. So it's fun character
That's
quirk.
really great for the podcast. People
I love editing them. So next is the Else Callers. Their thing is I will reach my potential. Those who join the Else Callers generally subscribe to a philosophy that they should be becoming better with each oath, seeking to explore their true potential and reach it. The Order is more open to all types of people, as long as they want to improve themselves. They tend to attract those who are less flamboyant, meaning they're more likely to attract scholars, theologians, and
Theologians?
Theologians. Words. And those who are interested in leadership. Modern law connects the Else Callers. No, don't worry about that. That's a part that I am not talking about. I decided because it's too complicated.
There's more law.
Well, yeah, I'm editing.
He's hiding the law from us.
So the Else Callers, they're a very scholarly unit, basically. So they, once again, these guys have the transformation ability as well, similar to the Light Weavers, but they tend to be a lot better at it because they are... When you're recruiting people that are kind of natural-born leaders and people who specialize in talking skills and scholars, they generally are better at the whole persuading and learning about the different essences than the people that are there for art and espionage, you know?
So they picked the charisma guys instead of the sneaky art kids, the drama kids.
Yeah, exactly. So while the Light Weavers...
Jocks.
Yeah.
I also just adore like adding scholars to the rank as well. Like I go into the spirit realm and I hear I'm a stick. It's like push up my glasses. Actually,
Okay, maybe this is us.
I won't. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I wish that was not. I wish I could say that was not how it happens. But anyway, so the other one that they've got is transportation. So the surge of transportation can be manipulated to achieve realmatic transition. This ability allows the surge binder to travel between the cognitive and physical realms by creating a miniature perpendicularity. Perpendicularity is a point that lets you transition between realms. Yeah, that's it.
so transportation
what?
going into the spirit realm. Mm-hmm. What's the point beyond me trying to negotiate a stick into a rock and then it disagreeing and then me coming into the spirit realm to come beat its ass?
I'm so glad you asked, Guy. And that is because travel in the spiritual realm can be in the cognitive realm, rather, can be a much faster way to get around, as the distances, for a start, there is land in places where there would be water, so you can use it to get across water, but also distances are a lot shorter in the cognitive realm. You can travel a lot faster. So, for example, this seems like a great time, because this is a very key part of the potential future for the Elsecallers. The way that you travel between planets in this world without spacecrafts is by using the cognitive realm, as you can effectively just walk through a solar system to another planet through the cognitive realm.
Seems like a long fucking walk, but
Yes.
So it's kind of like in Minecraft. We've all played Minecraft. In the Nether, 8 blocks. 1 block in the Nether is 8 blocks in the overworld.
That is a perfect way of putting it, Matthew. That will
Thank you.
immediately work for Guy, I'm sure.
I was already gonna make that.
Nice.
Also, okay, what do you mean walk to other planets though? Like, is there like
Yeah,
how
because
do
I
you
asked
step
earlier. I
off the
said
planet?
that there's air where there's usually air. So
how do you step off the
how do
planet?
you go
Yeah.
up?
We don't know yet, but I imagine we'll
Maybe
find out
okay. Context though, maybe
The
it
world's
might
flat.
just be the fact that they're closer. That's more important than the fact that you can make a much lower powered spacecraft if the time is 8 times.
No, but we also know people that have just straight up effectively drifted and walked to another world through the cognitive realm. So I imagine we'll find out
Maybe
soon.
space
Can they bring
instead of being a direct connection of like this space is like 10 times less. It's like more mental, like, right? You can go like you get to the edge and you're like, I want to go there, and you like drift there. Like I feel like it's more spiritual than.
Or
Maybe.
can you bring someone with you?
Maybe.
Because if you can, I'm bringing one of the gravity boys with me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You can. They can bring a group of people through with them when they transport.
Oh,
Bring
sick.
one of the gravity
just bring the
boys.
gravity guys and just take off.
Yep.
Who needs spacecraft? What the fuck?
Yep.
Also, question. Sorry,
No, you're right.
when you're in there, is everything all like the Spurns? They're like dangerous
Spren.
creatures now.
The Spren.
Sprens, sorry.
I
like that.
Some are. Some aren't.
So it's like a different planet.
It is literally a different planet. Shadesmar, or the cognitive realm, is regularly described and use descriptive words very much make it out to be like going to an alien planet. It's so different to the main world. So the next one, we have just 2 left. 3 left. Sorry, but I'll speedrun them. So the Wool Shapers are the next one. Their motto is "I will seek freedom." Wool Shapers generally subscribe to a philosophy that all people should be free to make their own choices. Seems good, right? They tend to attract builders, craftsmen, and other artisans as well. So it can be freedom in craft as well as freedom in body.
Wool shaper? Wool? W-O-O-L?
Will Shaper.
Will shaper.
Okay, I also heard wool. I'm just like,
Fair.
oh, they're really into knitting.
Yeah. So as well, they also have the transportation that the Elsecallers have, but the other one they've also got is cohesion. So it is also called the Surge of Axial Interconnection, but it's a mouthful, so we'll call it the Surge of Cohesion, and it can be manipulated to alter objects at a molecular level. This allows user to alter the shape of solid objects, but not human flesh, with Surge Binders able to grab matter and stretch it, altering the object as though it were soft clay. Cohesion is highly resisted by investiture, and even a small amount of stormlight in an object would prevent them from being able to move it, or shift it. This ability manipulates the force that binds atoms together. While in use, a surge binder can mold stone or other materials as if it were clay without the use for heat. Stone is able to sense the intent of the surge binder and their past, and even show out or explain events from the past via stone shaping. Though stone tends to be the most difficult to sort. So while stone is one of the more difficult things for people to transmute, it is very easy and obeys very easily to cohesion. So this is kind of like your Moses, except instead of it being the parting the Red Sea, you're parting the stone mountain.
That's kind of sick. Can you also do like water and other stuff? Or
yeah.
Only stone.
Yeah.
Moses was a Beyblader and a
Will Shaper. But it's funny because Will Shaper, I will seek freedom. Their whole thing is freeing people from bonds and slavery and stuff.
Holy shit!
That's
God
Moses.
damn, he actually is.
I know.
What the fuck?
So yeah, that's the Will Shapers. Next is the. Sorry.
Just quickly, do you think it's hard being a will shaper in terms of like, you have to go from being a crafter and an artisan and like you're used to working with tools and then you just get granted the magical power to just be like,
Yeah, legit.
you have to change your fucking strategy. You got to change your technique.
I think you get good at both because, like, what if you run out or you don't want to waste the magic? You know what I mean? So I feel like
that's fair.
you get good at both.
Do we go over the special powers of the last two?
Yeah, they have the Will Shapers or the Elsecallers.
The last one and this one.
Elsecaller has the transportation, and so do Will Shapers. That's what you're.
No. But like
What's the combo?
The wombo combo. Do they not all have wombo combos?
They don't necessarily all have wombo combos.
No!
I'd say the wombo combo, the last one, is they can understand the spiritual realm better, so that's why they're easier to trans.
There isn't. Yeah, there's less of a mechanical wombo combo and more. Matt's kind of nailed it there, where Elsecallers can transport themselves. Naturally. And then whilst they're in the cognitive realm, they can get a better understanding of
What's
objects.
the fucking point of having two powers where some of them overlap if I don't have a fucking combo move called Stunbreaker 3000 or some bullshit? If I'm not in a fighting game, what's the fucking point?
If you press X triangle square.
About the mental realm. That's my power. Yeah, well, I've got fucking gravity black hole jutsu. Bitch. Anyway.
Well, I can gaslight the fucking realm into being what the fuck I want
so
it to be.
can the other guild that also has that power.
I just, you know that water you just put in your mouth? It's piss. It's piss now. You drink
The
piss,
other guys
boys.
can do that too.
But they can do it less good.
Power.
I can do it. I'm across the room. I can do it from across the room. You can't do it from across the room.
can. Provided you're good
Nah,
enough
but they're
with
like
that
shit
power.
at it. They're only half the time they get you pissed. So half the time it's like
Half the time
slightly
it's wine. Half the
lemon
time
water.
it's yellow Gatorade.
I'm gonna move on to the Stone Wards here. So the
100%
Stone
of the time I'm
Wards.
putting piss in your mouth.
So the Stone Wards, their motto is "I will be there when I'm needed." Those who join the Stone Wards generally subscribe to a philosophy of team dynamics, on learning to work with others, and on being there for those who need them. The core tenet of the Order is to be there when needed. They seek to take a difficult situation with few resources and make something better out of it. The Order strives to exemplify resolve, strength, and dependability. They tend to attract those who are most interested in warfare, prowess with weapons, or athletics of any sort. These are the guys, they are most famous for using the cohesion thing to bend stone, because that's their fucking name. But yeah, they're kind of they absolutely fucking love a 300 style, it's just us against all of them, man, we've got this. These are kind of the guys that are the most ready to be a martyr on the battlefield, you know?
It's the kind of like men only want one thing, and it's fucking disgusting kind of meme.
Yeah, that is kind of these guys. So the other one that they've got is the last surge, which we haven't talked about yet, tension. Also called the surge of soft axial interconnection, so where the cohesion was hard axial, this is soft. Shut up. The surge of tension can be manipulated to alter the stiffness of an object. For example, taking something flexible and making it rigid. Yeah, I really should have thought about this script before I opened it. Anyway, the two orders, it's...
Okay.
I really wish I had more, but we don't... Yes?
Can you give me a functional fucking use for that power, though, beyond me making a stick out of a rope?
Dick benders.
Dick
Thank you.
bender.
Come again.
Yeah.
I really hate it, but we don't actually, we don't,
Brandy's gonna have some late nights thinking.
We
of something
haven't
useful to
seen
do
any
this.
fucking stone wards yet in the books, okay? I'm sorry.
I mean, to be
Yeah,
fair,
because they're all too busy helping men with erectile dysfunction.
yeah.
Okay. I can think of so many uses. What are you talking about? There's a wall. You touch a wall, it turns to like rubber or water.
But it
and you push through.
depends on what the boundaries of the thing are. Because if we're talking like scale on most of these things, have been pretty, lock and ball kind of.
Okay, then do a
sword-sized.
door. Do a lock. You touch a lock, it's gone. And you like. I feel like this is like the kind of power is like nothing could stop a man with this, or a person with this power.
But the other guys can bend fucking wood. They can do the exact same thing, but better.
Well, no, because
like-
it's kind of the way I guess the reason they're stone walls is because it's the way they work together. Because the other guys with their cohesion alone, they can mold stone. These guys can make the stone actually like cool. It's not. They can kind of get rid of it and make it like almost sand-like in a sense, and kind of step through it.
Never mind. I've thought of an image, and another image has popped into my head. Want to hear it? Italian stone bender man walks up to the side of the mountain, pulls out a ball of stone and flips it into a little pizza shape and fucking throws a stone.
Exactly.
I don't know where I'm going with this.
This is terrible. I hate
love
this. They can literally just walk through any surface. That's the power. That is crazy. Just because you could mold it, and I imagine this would take less energy because you are molding into a specific shape, and that intent would be probably more intensive because it's all about like mental energy, right? This is like I just make it soft instead of I have to think of what to make that. It's like nothing can stop these guys.
The only thing with tension and cohesion that I mentioned with cohesion, but it's the same for this one. They are highly resisted by investiture, so if you have an object that is holding Stormlight, it is very hard for these guys to interfere with it. So a defense against... Yeah, or
Okay, something can stop these guys.
Yeah, so like if you have your base and you've got Stormlight running through the stone of the base somehow, it will be a really good way to stop them just sneaking in. Not that I'd be alluding to anything like that in the books, but...
infused walls. Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. It's cool.
So then we've got the last order of the Knights Radiant, the Bondsmiths. So the Bondsmiths' whole thing is, I will unite. The Bondsmiths are focused on unity, unification, and bringing others together. And the thing is, though, there are only ever three Bondsmiths at any time. And that is because the Bondsmith comes from bonding, in a sense, God themselves. Nice. You have a bondsmith for cultivation, you have a bondsmith for honor, and you can get a bondsmith for a spren we haven't talked about yet, that is effectively the child of cultivation and honor.
Aw.
What?
They had a
Yes.
baby.
They have a child.
They got a god baby?
A kind of god baby. And you can have a bondsmith for this one as well.
What's it called?
Currently we don't know yet because we've only just discovered about its existence in the books. So
Ooh, interesting.
yeah. Anyway, so the bondsmiths historically are the ones that lead the Knights Radiant overall. So their order is only ever consisted of like 3 members, but they then lead the rest of the orders.
It makes sense. If like
Yeah.
you're like you are the god representation on
Yeah.
Earth. I'll take
so
it from you guys.
but the thing with them is that they have a stronger connection to the god itself, and thus they can connect with things on a stronger, more spiritual level. And their 2 abilities are adhesion and tension. So once again, the tension one that we talked about before with the zorp through wall, whatever you want to call it, and adhesion, which links us back through to the start about attaching different objects. However, they can also use these on a spiritual level. So spiritual adhesion, using the surge of adhesion to manipulate spiritual rather than purely physical forces, a bondsmith can touch another person and forge a spiritual connection between them. This allows the bondsmith to temporarily speak to the other person's native tongue. So they can kind of
cool.
Doctor Who TARDIS style just auto-translate.
Nice.
This allows whether the bondsmith must remain physically close to the person or for the ability to be used is unknown. It lasts longer than a few hours, but shorter than a few days. So they may have to reactivate it every now and then. Other connection abilities through this, the surge can be used for other types of connection. with known uses being connecting a radiant to the ground and causing their stormlight to drain out of their body into the earth.
Ooh.
And seeing the past and the connections of a given person. So, for example, seeing their past connections to a spren. And even it's been alluded to that a bondsmith may even be able to steal a Nahel bond from a radiant.
Ooh.
If they were so inclined, which would make sense for the person in charge of the orders to be able to just rip someone's bond away if they needed to.
That's kind of fucked up. But yeah.
It is unclear. The other thing about this as well, of course, there is an honor blade connected to the bondsmiths, so we've seen the herald of this do certain abilities like these, and we aren't sure if a bondsmith will be able to do the same things without the honor blade, but hypothetically they could. So that's the orders. The last thing we have to talk about is the progression that Guy was so interested in.
Tell me.
So, the progression through the ideals. So, we've talked about our philosophies. Now, the distinguishing factors that makes the Knights Radiant really fucking cool and very fun to read their stories. And I don't know, I enjoy them. Whatever. So everyone swears the first ideal, as we mentioned, and then from there they go into a unique set of words that serve as a path to increase the Nahel bond and become a full Knight Radiant. Mm-hmm. The exact words may vary, but generally the concepts implied by them are shared. A Surgebinder progressing along the path will know the words when they are ready to say them. Each order has 4 sets of words before the final culmination of the Nahel bond. Mm-hmm. And this is, like I say, this is very much the fun part. To be super meta, it's kind of magical character development given magical power. As these knights continue to train, fight, and strengthen their bond with their spren, they can swear higher ideals. And depending on the order, these ideals can either represent a greater understanding or realization about themselves or the world, or it can be an affirmation of their path in life. I'm not going to individualize every single order and all their oaths and powers, but I'll give a couple of examples as we go so you get a little bit of an idea. So the first ideal we've already established. That's the whole life before death, strength before weakness, journey before destination. This lets someone bond a spren in the very first place. And this lets them begin inhaling Stormlight, healing factor, power, whatever. Nothing insanely powerful yet, and generally they can't even access the different surges once they're the first ideal. Yeah. So different surges may be blocked behind different ideals. We don't fully know every single order's one yet, because we just haven't explored them all in a narrative context. But generally, you need at least the second ideal to get access to any of the surges of your order.
You still need a spren to take the first.
Yeah, so you can be as worthy a Windrunner as you want, but you aren't going to become a Windrunner unless there's an honor spren floating around you who's ready to accept.
Okay, so pre first oath is like level 0.
Yeah, so pre everything is being someone that exemplifies the virtues of the Windrunners enough to draw the attention of an honor spren, for example.
Okay. Oh, so to even begin training with the orders, usually you need to have a spren following you already.
Depends on the state of the order, to be honest. It depends if they're needing to recruit more people.
Okay,
because it does also depend. And also the same goes for the spren. If they're in the middle of... Remember how I mentioned that the Oath Pact will usually keep the enemies away, but occasionally it breaks and they have to get ready to fight?
Yes.
If they're like, oh fuck, we're about to have another demon incursion, to simplify it, they're going to start training a whole bunch more people, which also means a lot more honor spren are going to go looking for people to bond. So it's very much a kind of supply and demand thing, I guess, if you want to think of it that way.
My one thing, though, if an order is oversupplied with people, which I don't presume we've come to at this point, is it possible for some rando who is a good scholar or a good soldier or whatever, no interest in joining an order, just have a little honor sprite wandering around, like, fuck off, get out of here, fuck off.
Oh, 100%, yeah, you definitely
Great, okay, cool.
And
like
more
that.
Importantly, you get people, especially in the Windrunners, which we'll get to, you get to people that do not want to be a Radiant, but they're being effectively stalked by an honor spren who's like, You fucking know the words. Say the words.
Say the
become a
words,
radiant.
bitch.
And he's like, no.
Come join us. Join
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, legit.
Hero decline is one of my favorite tropes. It's so good.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to decline the call to later accept the call. Come on.
The second ideal of the Windrunners, I'll look at the Windrunners and the Skybreakers because we've got some pretty good ones for them. So the second ideal of the Windrunners, first off, is I will protect those who cannot protect themselves. So upon speaking this oath and having it accepted, the Windrunner will... they'll gain access to the surges, basically, is the simplest way of putting it. If you are a Skybreaker, then the ideal that you will swear at this stage is, I swear to seek justice, to let it guide me until I find a more perfect ideal. For the most part, with the second ideal, they generally follow a definition of defining what the order is about. So the Windrunners, it's pretty straightforward. You're about protecting people. You're swearing an oath to protect people. The Skybreakers, you seek justice. You're swearing to seek justice. It's pretty self-explanatory for the different orders. Pretty cut and dry. And you unlock the surges. Then the third ideal is where it starts to get a little bit more complicated. And for the most part, with the different orders, the third ideal is about overcoming your own biases. So, if the second ideal is, here's what it takes to be a part of this order, the third ideal is realizing that you have times where you don't want to do the thing you said you'd do, but you have to do it anyway. So for the Windrunners, we have a couple different third ideals, because it can be very complicated. And the... one of them that we hear is, I will protect even those I hate, so long as it is right. Another one that we hear is, I will protect those I hate, even if the one I hate most is myself. And another one we have is, I've got to protect people, even from myself.
If someone says that and fucking levels up.
Yeah.
Okay. Weird question. Mm-hmm. Do they have to be ready for it, or do they just, if they say it, they get it?
Generally, discovering and realizing what the words are they need to say is them being ready for it, because they've realized. So, like in the instance of the first one, the thing that's holding that person back from unlocking their third ideal is that they don't want to protect this person that they should protect because they hate them and they think they're an arsehole. But really, there's nothing wrong with that person. They just have a very what's the word? They have a prejudice.
Prejudice is correct.
Yeah, prejudice is the right word.
They have kind of like a
Are they
prejudice.
being
against-
racist?
Not racist, more classist, I guess.
That's prejudice.
Yeah, they have like a prejudice against that person that they don't want to protect, but they should be protecting them because there's nothing really wrong with that person. So that realization of, I should be protecting that person even though I hate them, that's, once they realize that and put together those words, generally they're ready.
I promise I'll stop being racist.
It's interesting. I was... My brain was dumb. I was like, what? Just write them down and give to someone, they can become the most powerful.
Yeah.
No, it's unique to the person.
It is very unique, generally.
That's
Especially the
what makes
third ideal. The third ideal onward is very unique.
Yeah.
And once again...
Makes a lot more sense that you discover it.
Third ideal onwards?
Yeah, they start to get more and more specific as you go.
How many tiers are there, Jude? That's what he's asking.
The fifth...
He's asking,
I said
how high can we go?
Fifth is the final one.
Oh, okay. Boring.
So the third ideal of the Skybreakers is, I swear to follow the will of insert name of a person from the book. This is my oath. And in this instance, with the Skybreakers, it's more about accepting the guidance of someone else in their way of seeking justice and law, and coming to respect that, hey, maybe I don't actually know justice myself, maybe I need to learn what justice is from someone else. So there's that. When you get the third ideal, that's when you unlock the blade, the cool sword.
Woohoo!
You get a cool sword?
And this is called a shard blade. A shard blade is a manifestation of the spren that you are bonded to in the physical realm, and they are imitating the honor blades of the heralds. Typically, a shard blade is an extraordinarily large blade, yet virtually weightless to the person bonded to it. Many blades we see are nearly 6 foot long, and a particular colour depending on the spren that created them. The blade can change its shape to any weapon the wielder desires, though the blade tends to be the default shape they take. We see them be spears, daggers, and even an axe, depending on what the person needs at the time.
Nice.
However, what is special about a shard blade is that they can and will cut through anything non-organic. Rock, steel, gemstone, whatever, the shard blade will cut through it. Organic living things, such as humans, are not cut by shard blades. Instead, the edge of the blade fuzzes and phases through it, cutting its soul instead. If it passes...
That's way worse.
Yep. If it passes through a limb, the limb will turn grey and die, becoming useless. If it passes through a major organ, the organ dies. If it passes through the skull or a spine, the target's eyes burn out in black smoke and the target dies.
I was like, oh, okay, so cool. They're like utility based, but they can't hurt anyone, so they're fine.
Nope.
No, they're way worse than real
They are
swords.
one of the most brutal weapons in the Cosmere.
They're like lightsabers, basically.
Yep.
If you stick one with someone, they're dead.
Yep. Needless to say, regular plate-armored soldiers are completely powerless against a shard blade, because your plate armor, that blade's gonna cut it in half, and then it's gonna go through you, and then you're dead.
Do the demons wear armor?
They wear armor, yes. And they, and you get, yeah. Anyway. I won't
For
get
what
into that.
purpose?
Can you parry this thing with anything?
Another
shard
shard
blade.
blade. Yeah.
Do the demons have shard blades?
Some of them have got weapons made by odium that are functionally similar to shard blades, yes. But also, you got to bear in mind, the shard blades were literally built and designed to beat demons who are made out of nothing but pure stone. So, like, the humans are being fucking ruined by these demons. This is their upgrade, you know?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And the shard blades, they do not sit in a sheath. They are literally the spren. The Radiant has but to reach out their hand, and the shard will appear in their grip in whatever form they desire. Generally, the blade will appear on the physical realm in a splash of mist, occasionally with something extra depending on the spren. For example, a cultivation spren turning into a shard blade may briefly form as vines as it comes into being. As the cultivation spren are kind of like a leafy, viney thing. While in blade form, they have a telepathic link with you. So instead of being a little Tinkerbell that flies around your head talking to you, they're now in your head as they're your sword that you're cutting through people with.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Hey, listen. Hey, she killed that guy.
Yeah.
Hey,
great.
stab
do murder.
him.
Hey, do murder.
This is a Zelda
Hey,
reference,
murder.
isn't it?
Yes.
I've played that game.
It's the little helpful. What's it called again?
Navi.
Navi from.
Yeah.
From Avatar. Yeah, I love that movie. So
Legend of Zelda.
the fourth ideal, we don't have a lot of examples to work with here because not a lot of characters we know have sworn the fourth ideal. But this one is about dealing with the fundamental limitations of your entire order. So Windrunners, up until the third ideal, it's all about protect people, protect them, ignore your prejudice, protect them. The fourth ideal is accepting that sometimes you just can't do that. And that ideal that we hear someone swear for the fourth ideal is, I accept that there will be those I cannot protect. Because as someone whose entire life is forged around protecting people, it can be very damaging to their mental health, as is explored in the novel, when they regularly run into situations where there's just nothing they could physically do to save that person. And for the Skybreakers, the previous two ideals were all about following codes of law. The fourth ideal is an ideal of crusade, which is realizing that sometimes there's no code that will work for you, and you have to take justice into your own hands to do a quest. So generally when they get to the fourth ideal, a Skybreaker will take something important onto them, and this is their quest that they're going to go out and do. Very Crusader-like.
That seems healthy.
Very healthy. Very
I can't
healthy.
see that going wrong at all.
No, of course not. So that's the fourth ideal, and once you swear the fourth ideal, you get access to Shard Plate.
Nice.
Which, the fourth ideal is when someone is considered a full Knight Radiant. And the Shard Plate is constructed of individual pieces that, when assembled, protect the entire body. There is no gaps in sections of the armor, only increasingly small overlapping plates. Shard plate helmets have visors with eye slits that may be lifted to expose the face. Shard plate worn by Knights Radiant consists of multiple common spren which perpetually accompany the Radiant, though invisible, and manifest when called on. So if you're a Windrunner, you will be constantly surrounded by a small army of wind spren that when you will them into being, form a suit of armor around you.
That's so fucking cool.
I know,
Me,
right?
me and my posse going into battle.
Legit. Shard plate provides protection from impact caused by a weapon or from fall. It's basically a super suit, to be honest. The individual wearing the plate is able to feel impacts, but they don't really feel any pain, and the force is greatly reduced. Their sensation of touch is transferred through the fingers of the gauntlets, which is really weird, so they can kind of feel fine details despite wearing a gauntlet. Shard plate is durable enough to withstand gunshots, just as a little heads up.
There's guns?
There's no guns, but he was asked at an FAQ if it would withstand a gunshot, and I figured me telling you that it could withstand a gunshot was a really easy way to get an idea of how tough this suit of armor is.
There's gonna be guns.
There's
that's
gonna
what
be
he's saying.
guns.
There
There's
will
gonna
be
guns.
guns. I mean, oh yeah, we know that.
There's gonna be guns.
Gonna be guns.
Shard plate is also highly conductive and transmits electricity like a Faraday cage, allowing electricity to flow through the plate and not the body, protecting the wearer from any lightning attacks that other enemies may have or may not have.
Nice.
How often does that happen?
You'd be surprised.
It's just a set bonus, Matt. You don't have to complain about it. It's niche,
sorry.
but it's useful. Whatever.
Shard plates are very, 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 very heavy, and thus it is hard to trip or stumble someone that is wearing it, because they have got a lot of mass behind them. Shard plate differs from ordinary armor in that it can stop blows from a shard blade. It is one of the
Nice.
only things that will stop a shard blade.
Makes a lot of
This
sense.
capacity is not unlimited, as shard weapons can still crack or even break the plate with repeated blows. But shard plate is one of the few materials that can block or resist it to any degree, apart from another shard blade.
Sorry, I just realized what that probably looks like in the spiritual realm. You've just got a bunch of the beasts just like whacking against each other
Yeah,
in some
legit,
big pile.
legit. Shard plate does not dent or bend. Instead, sections of the armor can crack after heavy or repeated impacts and will eventually fail. When a section of the armor fails, it will explode into molten bits of metal. Damaged sections will leak Stormlight, while enough leaks will deplete the gemstones encasing the Stormlight and cause the armor to lock up. So if you run out of Stormlight in a part of your armor, it basically becomes like a solid piece of metal that just becomes unmovable.
Is it like normal armor or way heavier?
So much heavier. Like, you aren't doing
But
it.
I assume it's only heavier for other people?
Nope.
Is it only
That's
heavier?
if you run out though. It's only if you run out that it'll become heavier.
Yeah.
So
it's
for-
not
no, but-
it's not usually an issue if it's your own shard plate you're wearing, because you can just dismiss it. But if you've given your shard plate to someone else somehow, which I don't know, maybe that happens sometimes, if a part of their armor gets broken, then they may become locked up in this suit of armor that's run out of Stormlight.
Yeah, but you're in an impenetrable suit of armor. I mean, you got better luck than most people who get stuff
Oh, you
like
do?
that.
Oh, 100%.
It's a pain in the ass, but like, yeah, for fun.
Yeah. Shard plate also greatly enhances its user's strength and speed, and provides the ability to jump great distances, heave objects of great weight, and run at high speeds. The extra
really is
support of
Iron
shard
Man.
plate, yeah, it is. The support of shard plate can assist the wearer in overcoming physical injuries that might otherwise leave them incapacitated. And your agility and dexterity are greatly increased by shard plate. You get like +6 to dex. It's crazy. A person armored in shard acquires faster reflexes and is more responsive in battle. So that's the shard plate.
Is there
Sorry.
anything about the shard plate that isn't in the Iron Man armor?
You don't have laser guns in your hands, I guess?
Sorry, also, Jude.
What about laser crossbows?
No, those crossbows. No.
Oh, sad.
Yeah,
Also-
yeah, I know.
Was one of the fucking attributes of it that it helps you survive blows that would otherwise... What did you say? It was one of the last ones you said.
Help you survive blows that would otherwise incapacitate you.
Yeah, it's fucking armor. That's the point. What do you... I was trying to think about it. I was like, does it enhance the body? No, it just protects the body. That's armor.
Remember when I spent 10 minutes at the start of recording finishing my script? Yeah, anyway.
You're right. Never mind.
So the last
That's
one
what armor is.
is the fifth ideal. The final level, we do not know a lot about it yet. Old Sando is holding himself very secret over this and what it is. We know that the heralds represent this ideal, and we know that the heralds have each achieved the 5th ideal of their own thing. But we have to wonder whether you can become the herald if you take the 5th ideal. Who knows? We don't. That's kind of thing that a lot of people are like, interesting. But the idea, all that we know, is that you get to a point of fully understanding the philosophical concept behind the order. What that means, who knows? As a Skybreaker, in theory, it means that you become the law. Which doesn't sound dodgy at all.
Yeah. I was thinking LORE. I was like, I'll become the law, baby.
Yeah, man.
I am the law.
I'm living by it.
I'm the law axe.
Yeah.
And I speak for the books.
No. First ideal is I'm joining the Knights. I am a knight. Second ideal is I'm becoming... Wait, what was the...
Second ideal is I'm understanding the philosophy of my order.
Third one is I understand the flaws of myself. Fourth one is I understand the flaws of my order. So
Yeah.
in, out, out.
Yeah.
What? I was hoping that there was going to be some natural lead to the 5th one that I could guess it, but no. Who fucking
Understanding,
knows?
you break the 4th wall of understanding. I don't know. We don't know. The
fifth
last
one
book
is-
in this series comes out next year, and all our questions will probably not be answered, and we'll all cry about it. But yes.
No, the 5th one is I'll take that sword now, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, that is kind of my theory, that if someone becomes the 5th ideal, they can kind of become the herald. But who knows?
Interesting.
So, the last thing we've talked about the orders, we talked about the ideals. Guy.
Yes.
What order do we think Matt belongs to?
I don't remember the name, but he already self-identified as a lawkeeper, as one of the ones with the
That's true. The Else Callers, possibly. The wise and careful ones with the transformation and transportation.
But I don't know if that's
It was
necessarily
either those or the
who
Truth
he is.
Speakers.
I think the Truth Watchers.
Truth Watchers feels a bit more loosey-goosey, because the other one's a bit too careful, you know?
So that would
If
be...
I know one thing about Matt, it's that he's not careful.
If I know one thing about Matt, it's that he seeks truth.
Sometimes.
He's an arguing little-
I think I'd fit the form ones better. The ones that are like scholars and shit.
Yeah,
I like that.
I think so. And Matt, what do we think Guy is?
He's the guys who turn things to dust because whatever he touches is...
Stormbreaker!
I don't know. I could see Guy being a stone ward, actually.
He does seem like he could be an amazing
Artisan blacksmithy person.
blacksmith.
Hey
yeah,
guys, I have
blacksmith.
one blacksmith weapon, and the only reason I say that as my answer for if I was transported into a fantasy world, I would be a blacksmith, is because I'm a pussy. Because I don't want to be on the front lines of battle.
Oh yeah, true. The
And
stone
also because
wards
I'm
are
not
like
smart
the...
enough to be a leader.
Um,
And then for Jude, Matt, which
For
one do we
Judith.
believe Jude would be? I reckon he's the one that, like, what's the full convincing one? Like, into the spirit
Yeah,
realm.
the
and-
illusionist.
Yeah.
the
The one that are into like they're into like poetry, putting on plays, and espionage.
the light weavers, the
Yeah.
ones who are all about lies and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fun
sounds about right.
front, you know, lots of arts and stuff like that, but behind it, it's just horse shit and lies.
So anyway, that was the episode today.
I think he's good at convincing people.
Yeah, that's what I-
And
that's
he's
why I
also
kinda
a
wanna
great
put him-
artist. But he's not like he is creative type actually, so maybe that fits him better.
maybe.
I don't know. We are literally doing a creative art right now.
That's true. We're all
So
fairly
we're
creative.
all probably around that called creative. None of us are warriors. I think that's very clear.
What do you mean? I think Matt
None
could.
of us-
I think
none
Matt
of
could
us
be
are.
a skybreaker. Honestly, you're all about that justice and confidence.
Truth, justice, and the American way, baby.
I don't
That's
think Matt
me.
could ever reach the fourth ideal, though, because he would never be able to... He has to stick to a set of rules
He has
and
to speak
laws.
at crusade. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I can never go past the third ideal, mate. I have no flaws.
I've got no issues. I could never do it. No blade could be mine. That's so sad.
What are you gonna do? How's it gonna pick me? I have no flaws. Oh god, that
Yes.
was very interesting.
Yeah.
like that.
yeah.
That's really fun.
I think gravitational is the best. That is just that or I don't know, the stone making, you could transfer the transforming is amazing. They're all very interesting.
Transports I've always stood by the fact that like teleportation is like such an underrated power.
But it's not teleportation. It's like
It's
But
like
it's
more of
the
a plane
closest you
shift.
get.
Yeah.
it's like fast travel, but not
Yeah.
teleportation.
Yeah.
But also,
It's-
I would like the one that has transport plus material negotiation. Like that's just fucking. That's a recipe for success, baby.
Yeah,
I
it
still-
is interesting because there's definitely a thing that can happen as well. So it's a fun little side. With the transportation, you need to be careful because if you go into the other realm or to a different realm, you may find yourself cut off from getting more Stormlight, depending on where you are. So, for example, there is a character who is stabbed through the chest, and it's like, oh shit, she's probably gonna die. But as she's being stabbed, she transports herself into the cognitive realm and is able to start healing herself because she doesn't have an enemy there just to cut her head off or whatever. But then by the time she's spent all of that Stormlight healing herself, she does not have enough to get out again. So she's kind of stranded for a long time, not having any way to escape because she doesn't have any gems left on her because she was not prepared, obviously, because she was attacked by an assassin. So yeah, it's
The
interesting.
storm rolls over the cognitive realm, though, right?
Yes, but if she doesn't have any gems on her, what's she gonna do?
Okay. Secondary point then. Are there landmarks in the cognitive realm?
Yes, there are.
Okay. but there's water. Oh, I was gonna say just go back to the headquarters of where your guys are, and there'll be shitloads of people transporting, right? No, it's over water. So obviously they're using somewhere
it's
else.
quite hard. It's
You
quite
have to
hard.
have a buddy come get you if you
Yep.
you just
Yep.
have like a buddy to check on you every couple of days, you know.
Yeah, 100%. But it's yeah. Obviously, there's ways
Progression
around
again?
it.
So I have
But
a list right here. What's progression?
progression is the healing.
Oh yeah, that's sick. That is really good.
I do like healing.
I think tension is so cool. I just think it's just not used enough. Like I would love to see someone use that. Just be able to walk through walls and shit
Yeah,
like that.
we
That seems
do-
So sick.
The followers of Odium, so they're bad guys in the book, but like, oh, they're bad guys. This book does spend a long time questioning if they're really the
Followers
bad guys.
of the God Killer.
Followers of the God Killer, but like they're unfortunate followers. It's complicated.
That's true. Actually, they were coerced.
They and then kind of had Honor turn their back on them. It's complicated. I've phrased this in such a way where I don't really spoil anything for the books, to be honest.
It's never. It can be interesting, but come on, good and bad. It needs to be a bit of grey area in the middle. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. And so some of the followers of Odium that have access to tension specifically, they literally just travel through the ground. And
Yeah.
so they'll have like, for example, the humans will have like a shield wall that they're using to defend and hold the line, and they're really good fighters. This like kingdom of humans, they're like the best fighters in the kingdom, and they're holding the line against this encroaching army. And then a bunch of people just go under the ground and then just start grabbing them and pulling them down into the ground and shit. And it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. I feel like there's always a thing with powers that's interesting to me where you kind of have to rate them on a scale of combat usefulness versus everyday usefulness. Because my brain always goes to, how can I make money out of this power?
There's someone in Skullduggery Pleasant that can literally just tunnel through any material, and it's very cool like that. And they're basically like a human tunneler.
Yeah, nice.
So they transport someone else, and that person has really, really, really bad claustrophobia. And they're like having
Yeah.
the panic attack of their lives.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Fucked up, man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Cool. Well,
Yeah, but that is Surge Binding. That is Stormlight Archives magic systems, and we're done with the magic systems of the Cosmere.
No, we're not.
great.
Don't fucking
Brandon,
lie
now
to me.
You have to come on.
I will leave it there for a long while. I was meant to leave it longer before doing this one, but my other idea I didn't have time to get going yet. So
Now you don't have this to fall back on. You better write a script.
oh, it's fine. It'll be ready.
We only give you a month and a half to write a script. It's all good, dude.
Yeah. It's something I'm a great expert on. The next one, don't worry about it.
Sending a message to Brandon Sanderson, our boy,
If anyone listening to this knows Brandon Sanderson
can
personally,
get in contact. It's time. It's
Come
time.
chat.
We would love to
Tell
be
him.
able to-
Tell him. I just want an email explaining tension better. That's
Yeah,
what we want.
I
That's
love-
what we want. That's what we want.
No, I want
know about
an
tension.
interview. I want him on here. I want to grill him about his stupid fucking spore seas and bullshit like that.
You mean his amazing world building, guy?
Yes, no, amazing world building, but like,
But stupid seeds. Yeah.
no, Spore Ocean. I don't know fucking which one that was from, but something.
Oh yeah, that's the. It's a little. It's a Cosmere book, but I probably won't do an episode on it.
I just remember seeing it on Tested because he was talking to
Yeah.
fucking someone about making a simulation of it, and it was like, just fucking make it up, man. Most writers are just horseshitting on the train. Most of them are just shitting stuff out. You don't have to do fucking.
He wants to
scientific
make it as scientific as possible.
I love it, but I want to come on to
respect
you and
it.
grill about it.
No, but well, that'll be it for the Stormlight Archives. But if you want to hear some foreshadowing in a library, join us at Living by the Law, and become a law keeper today. Follow us and rate us 5 stars on iTunes or Spotify. We love that, and we're on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Threads. Anyway, you find us, you get updates and behind the scenes of the podcast. You know what I mean?
Really, really
And
enjoyed it.
highlights.
Come jump on Patreon. We're putting some stuff up there. Be a good time. If you're also interested in other Bandy Sandy extravaganzas, then head back through our previous episodes. There's a little YouTube's playlist that's there. It's all sorts of stuff. It's good.
Yeah, we're on YouTube now
Yeah.
as well. So if you want to enjoy, use YouTube in the background, we're on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have TikTok has all the highlights and edits and stuff like that. Also, how many stars you rate us is how many levels you get to go.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say your star rating equals your ideal. You son of a bitch.
So if you rate us 3 stars, you're only going to get to level 3. And if you rate us 5 stars, can you please send us an email and tell us what the fuck happens? Because we
Yeah,
really
that'd
wanna
be
fucking
good to know. Actually, I can think of a lot of people that would want to know.
Please
that.
rate us 5 stars and let
If
us
you
know.
rate us 0 stars, you get no cool elemental pet. That's sad.
It's very sad.
And that includes not rating us.
Yeah. Exactly. Well,
Well,
that is all.
That has been Brandon Samuelson, and I will say good night, listener, and good night, Brandon Samuelson.
And good afternoon, listener.
Good
from
morning,
Sanderson.
Brandon. Good morning, Brandon. Good morning, listener. I hope you had a good sleep. Did you sleep well? Did we rock you to sleep? We
And
could
come join us
actually.
on this podcast, baby, Brandy. Brandy, why are we in your house at 3 a.m. in the morning, Brandy?
Brandy, come share a brandy with me at the table.
Come, share the brandy. It's not yours, it's mine. I stole it from someone else.
Brandy Sandy is never going to speak to us and probably is already putting together a court.
A lawsuit.
No, but like, what's the
A lawsuit, LOS!
Oh, cease and desist.
No, what's the fucking thing?
cease and desist.
distance order,
Restraining
like
order.
A
Restraining order.
He's putting a restraining
Yeah.
order together.
A digital restraining order. We can't say his name.
Hey, don't worry, we're gonna lawsuit him. We need to do a lawsuit.
Oh my god, a lawsuit. Holy shit. Holy shit.
History of suits. What are you fucking talking about? That show sucks.
Thank you for listening to Living by the Law. If you enjoyed our podcast, please leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends. The link is in the description, and thank you in advance. Also, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Living by the Law to keep updated on the latest about our podcast. We have been, and always will be, living by the law. Thank you for your company, and good night.